inscrutable, impenetrable psyche of both the Purdue Boilermakers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. A couple of teams right now facing tumult and turmoil. Welcome everyone to a sold-out Ross-Ade Stadium here in Northwest Indiana. West Lafayette, Iowa at 3-2, taking on the 2-2 Purdue Boilermakers. A couple of teams needing a win, albeit early here in the Big Ten season. Hello everybody, I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman. Rob Stone down on the field joining us in just a few. Chris, it is early, but this is a time of immediacy and urgency, especially for Purdue.
Well, you look at Purdue, and they're trying to find out who they are. That's the storyline today. And I'll tell you what Joe Tiller did this week. He's going to find out what his team is made of. They went back to basics, to fundamentals. It's been a disappointment for them, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They've been bit by the injury bug a little bit, but Brock Spack, the defensive coordinator, will be the first to tell you that's not an excuse.
On the other side of the field, meanwhile, Iowa coming off a very impressive win last week against Illinois in conference play, but they too, Chris, undergoing a period of self-examination and self-evaluation.
Yeah, and I think this is a little bit more surprising than it is for Purdue, and I'll tell you why, because Iowa has Drew Tate back, the preseason favorite for Player of the Year. They have the starting center back, 2 wide receivers, their best running backs healthy. And yet, when we talked to Kirk Ferentz during the week, he said, hey, we're trying to find our identity still on the offensive side of the ball. Well, if they don't find it today, they're going to be in big trouble against this Purdue Boilermaker team.
Well, last year, Iowa started off 2-2, went on to win its last 8 games of the season, hoping to duplicate that feat, beginning with a win today against the Boilermakers. As for Purdue, they're looking to just straight up boiler up. It's coming up next.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. NBA Live 2006, their moves, your control, in stores now. And Nivea for Men, more evolved skincare.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ross-Ade Stadium in West Lafayette, Indiana, the 78th meeting all-time between Iowa and Purdue. And let's go downstairs to Rob Stone. Rob, see if these guys have a Irish hangover.
Well, they're going to use that Notre Dame loss to their advantage, and you guys touched on it in the beginning. The whole back to basics theme was the focus this week on the Purdue Football University practice field. You know, working on tackling, running through hits, and effectively running a pared down offense and defense. And they used that second half of that Notre Dame loss last Saturday here to get themselves prepped for today's game. Defensive coordinator Brock Spack told us at some point in that second half, he kind of turned the page and started focusing on adjustments for Iowa. By the time that game ended and he walked off the field, he knew what he was going to employ today. Offensively, they came out of the locker room at halftime versus Notre Dame and said, we need to put some points on the board. We're going to a 2-minute offense. And that 2-minute offense worked very well. In fact, they found out that their quarterback, Brandon Kirsch, operates at a much higher efficiency rate when the pace is picked up. So Jonesy, a little run and gun at times today from the Purdue offense.
Yeah, the less time they say that he has to think, the more efficient and effective he can be. And Brock Spack really coached his team up late in the game, albeit when it was decided last week against Notre Dame.
Well, the other thing you do when you play the quote-unquote basketball on grass, the players automatically have to pick up their tempo and their energy. And I think with Brandon Kirsch, it's interesting. Jim Chaney told us he was talking to his wife, Lisa Chaney, the other day. And she says, hey, Jim, why don't you do that all the time? And Jim said, you know what? You're right. I should do that all the time. And sometimes football coaches overthink themselves, Mark. It's simple and common sense. If something's working, whether it's 2-minute or 20-minute, run it.
Joe Tiller, the head coach of Purdue, Chris, in his 9th season. He's taken the team to 8 consecutive bowl games, but Tiller's squad, his Boiler Nation, has never been under the type of evaluation and examination that they have been through in the last couple of weeks after disappointing losses, one in overtime against Minnesota, then last week against the Fighting Irish. Kirk Ferentz, meanwhile, his counterpart on the other side of the field in his 7th season as head coach. What a rebuilding job he has done over the years for Iowa. Started off 1-10 in his first season, followed by 3-9, then 7-5. They turned the corner to the point there they have shared the Big Ten title the last 2 consecutive years, but this is the time of year they're looking to turn it on, much like they did a season ago. Purdue won the toss, electing to receive the opening kick. Dorian Bryant back deep along with Ray Williams. Dorian Bryant, one of the home run hitters offensively and on special teams for the Boilermakers, and we're underway. And Bryant watches it go onto the back of the end zone. Brandon Kirsch will take the reins of the Boilermaker offense beginning on their own 20-yard line. A look at our Nivea for Men starting lineups. The skill positions, Corey Sheets getting the start today from Manchester, Connecticut. Had the team's longest run from the line of scrimmage a couple of weeks ago against Minnesota. Otto, Powell, Turner, Grimes, and Sester up front on the offensive line for the Boilermakers. It'll be first down and 10 from their own 20. And one of the things that we're going to look for is a change in tempo offensively for Purdue.
They also look for the change in tempo defensively from Iowa. They're not expecting this.
Now with a four-receiver formation, they like to move Bryant around. And with the catch in the flat. And Bryant brought down at about the 27-yard line by Marcus Pascal. Nice gain of about 7 yards on first down. Pascal getting the start at free safety. That Iowa secondary anchored by the two corners. That time one of the safeties making the stop. Bryant comes out of the ballgame on second down and about 2 to go.
See all the linemen and all the receivers and backs are checking their wristbands. They're signaling a number on the wristband into the quarterback and to everybody. It's everybody's responsibility to get the call.
This is Corey Sheets. Got a nice block from Kirsch, his quarterback, and it's first down Boilermakers beyond the 40, out at the 43-yard line. Yes, I did say Kirsch with the block. First down and 10, Purdue.
Well, that's great awareness by Brandon Kirsch, giving up for his team. And Mark, I'll tell you, it might not do something now for his linemen, but when they watch the film tomorrow, they'll see that Brandon Kirsch is out there throwing his body around to give it up for his team, and that gets respect from the players.
Brandon Kirsch has waited several years for this opportunity. He watched Kyle Orton as a starter for a couple of years. This is his first year as the full-time starter. 13-yard pickup. First down and 10 at the 41. Hands it off to Corey Sheets, and Sheets with that explosive and dynamic ability out near midfield, gaining 8. As we take a look at our Nivea for Men starting lineups on the defensive front. Webema, Krull, King, and Madison. Linebackers, Miles, Abdul Hodge, and Chad Greenway. Number 2 and 1 in the conference, and tackles Johnson and Allen on the corners. Merrick and Godfrey are the safeties. Second down and 1. Looking into the eyes of Abdul Hodge. Kirsch fires complete to Dorian Bryant. And Bryant pushed out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Another first down for Purdue.
This is a little tweaking that Jim Chaney and Joe Tiller have done when you're talking about go back to basics. They kind of keep building off this spread, and that's almost a fake option look. And you go to the pass, and it sucks up the Iowa defensive backs, and Brandon Kirsch delivers a strike to Dorian Bryant on corner route. Nice play.
Well, Jim Chaney telling us yesterday, Chris, in our meetings that he's pared down the offense by about 35% and simplified it some for Kirsch, although he does have an abundance of plays on that play sheet on his wristband right now. An 18-yard pickup. First and 10. Brandon Jones, actually that's Charles Davis at the 27-yard line, brought down by Chad Greenway. Charles Davis, one of the big playmakers, picks up 5.
Well, so far the theory of going to a quicker tempo for Brandon Kirsch seems to be working, and Brandon seems to be a lot comfortable. See Coach Chaney behind that post? There's like 2 of them right there. Big post.
Coach Chaney, a very innovative offensive mind. They've tweaked with the offense this year and added that option package to it. They hand it off this time to Sheets. Still on his feet down to the 16-yard line, picking up another Boilermaker first down. They have come out with good intentions here.
Well, you know the old adage, one man's loss, another man's opportunity. And Corey Sheets, even though they're teammates, you know, he wants the Wally Pipp. Jared Voigt, he wants to get in there and show them that I'm the guy. Should be the guy. Give me the rock. He's getting the rock.
Voigt out with a leg injury. Sheets picking up 10. Brandon Jones and Corey Sheets. As we'll probably see Haygood today as well. Sheets that time stopped up at the 15-yard line by Abdul Hodge,
Yes.
second leading tackler in the Big Ten Conference and an All-American candidate out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Also Chad Greenway, and I'm just watching those two players play. Really, they have quite a reputation, and I'm here to say after watching them on film and playing that their reputation is well deserved. Both of them are outstanding players, very instinctive.
Second down and 8 for the Boilermakers. This is their opening drive of the ball game. Davis in motion.
Take a look, you got Chad Greenway right there. He's going down a 3-point stance. That's a little change for Norm Parker.
2 on the play clock, Chris, and forced to call a timeout. And we're going to take them right along with them. Purdue and Brandon Kirsch off to a good start so far. We'll see if they can cash in. An absolutely luminous, beautiful day here for college football. Purdue and Iowa just getting underway. Gerard Boyd injured last week in a game against Notre Dame. Suffering a leg injury, thought to be out for at least a couple more weeks. Brandon Jones, his understudy, along with Corey Sheets, who got the start today, right now averaging almost 9 yards a pop. All the timeout before we went to commercial as the play clock was winding down. It's second down and 8.
Right there's Chad Greenway at defensive end. It's a new position for him, hoping to get some speed off the corner on the pass rush.
Sheets on the handoff, clear sailing. Touchdown, Boilermakers. Corey Sheets' 6th rushing touchdown this season gives Purdue a 6-0 lead. And Chris, they made it look very methodical and somewhat easy as well.
Well, also very balanced, Mark. If you can come out and be effective throwing the ball down the field and running the football with Corey Sheets like that, you'll have Iowa playing on their heels all day.
Jones knocks through the extra point. Purdue couldn't have asked for a better script to start the ball game. Jim Chaney's script right on the target.
Coming up with a corner blitz, Antoine Allen, number 20, overruns it. Corey Sheets with great vision, hits the hole, in the zone, untouched.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Suzuki. Introducing the all-new Grand Vitara, the authentic SUV. And TD Waterhouse, the alternative to higher-priced brokers.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ross H. Stadium. West Lafayette, Purdue taking an early 7-0 lead. Time now for our progressive scoring drive. Purdue marching 80 yards on 8 plays, eclipsing about 3.5 minutes on the clock to take the lead. Albert Young back deep with the kick. And Young is going to be stopped up at about the 22-yard line. That's where Drew Tate will start with the reins of the offense for Iowa. Tate is a 6-foot, 185-pound junior from Baytown, Texas, and hey, happy birthday to him today. Tate was the preseason Player of the Year candidate in the conference, but so far those lofty potential goals going unfulfilled, having a somewhat subpar year. He'd be the first to tell you that. Although he is completing 68% of his passes, 6 touchdowns to go along with 3 interceptions. First down and 10 from the 22, and hands it off to Young. Young trying that left side of the offensive line, running over Ben Gates, and is stopped up after a gain of about 1. Here's our Nivea for Men starting lineups. Albert Young, Tom Bush, Clinton Solomon, a tall, rangy wide receiver. Hinkle, Mr. Dependable, and Scott Chandler, a tall target at 6'7". Gates, Jones, Ferentz, Mike Elgin, and Marshall Yanda up front on the offensive line for the Hawkeyes. And through the years, Iowa has had some very talented offensive linemen. This year's version still trying to identify exactly what their strengths are. Tate under duress and almost intercepted at the 27-yard line. Nice defensive play by number 59, Stanford Kegler. Let's take a look at that Boilermaker defense up front. Edwards, Villarreal, Grover, and Spencer. The line linebackers. Kegler made the play a few moments ago, who just came into the ball game. George Hall, Kyle Williams, and Averill also will see action. Logan and Williams now getting to start in the corner. Pollard, the big hitter. Brandon Whittington at free safety. They've undergone a lot of changes in the secondary. Over the last 2 games, Purdue has given up almost 1,200 yards on defense. Tate, complete to Solomon. Clinton Solomon with one guy to beat. Touchdown, Iowa! Clinton Solomon races 78 yards and scores.
You would take Clinton Solomon right here on the outside. There's no jam on Clinton Solomon, so it does not buy time for the free safety to get over and help. It was a too deep coverage. The safety takes a bad angle, and Solomon makes him pay. And that's a great read by Drew Tate. If you do not jam the outside receiver in cover 2, your safety's on too much of an island. No shot.
Flicker in for the extra point, knocks it through. We're deadlocked at 7. Clinton Solomon has been drawing a lot of attention, getting bracket coverage throughout the season, but he finally breaks out. And right now, let's go back to the studio. Reese Davis, what a start.
And what a finish in the big house, Jonesy. Michigan and Minnesota, this Taco Bell studio update shows us the battle for the Little Brown Jug, and Minnesota was just trying to get to overtime when Gary Stewart breaks through the Michigan defense, and then Gary Russell, I should say, and then Jason Giannetti for the game, and for the first time since '86, Minnesota has the Jug, 23-20-5.
Yeah, Reese, Glenn Mason told us a little while ago he's never seen that jug. It's the first time they won that thing in a while.
That's a great win for Minnesota. And we look at Brock's back right there, Mark. And he was a little bit disheveled yesterday. Right here is cover 2, and you're going to see the safety come back here. And right here, there's no jam. Watch it. When there's no jam, you cannot slow up the wide receiver. There's your safety coming back. See the 2 deep right there along the line. Brandon Whittington takes a bad angle. If you're going to go for that ball, you better go for the ball and lay out. Solomon makes him pay, and the speed to finish. Although Pollard almost caught him. Great play, great read by Drew Tate, and delivered the ball on time.
Tate with his 7th touchdown pass of the season, the 28th of his career, and I guess Solomon just gave him his 21st birthday present. There's Darian Bryant watching it go over his head once again. And Purdue will start on its own 20-yard line, but a very combustible beginning here. Some big plays to start this football game. Iowa going 78 yards real quickly in 3 plays, and Purdue a little bit more methodical in its approach, using 8 plays to go 80 yards to put a touchdown on the board. Right now, we'll see if Brandon Kirsch and the offense can counter. They did get off to a good start last week in that Notre Dame game, although they did fumble when they got deep into Notre Dame territory. Things went south from there. 1st and 10, that's Davis in motion. He shoots on the handoff, that time bottled up. At the 21-yard line, Matt Poole and Mitch King making the stop, the 2 guys inside. You talk about that defensive front. Hodge still one of the leaders as linebacker, Chris, but 3 of the 4 players that moved on from that front now in the NFL flag.
Yeah, and all 4 went to NFL camps, and that's been the biggest adjustment for Norm Parker in his defense, is trying to replace that front 4, because the front 4 makes the linebackers. They look good, you look good. They look bad, you look real bad.
2nd down and 9, Pierce to pass. As the receiver open, that's Noel. Evan Noel brought down about a yard shy of the first down by Antoine Allen. Picks up 8 on the play. It sets up a 3rd down and short. Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator, you know, he told us a funny story yesterday. He said, I told my radio guy, if we're a top 10 team, then you're Tom Cruise. Neither being true, of course. But Norm always has a little bit of sly fox in him, playing possum. 3rd down and 1. Sheets hit behind the line of scrimmage, and they're not going to get the first down. Brian Madison made the first initial bit of contact, and then he got some help after that. It'll be 4th down for the Boilermakers. Chad Greenway came in to finish things off. It's 3 and out.
Abdul Hodge also coming over top. But again, if the problem's the defensive line, if you get penetration like Madison does, then you get the pursuit of Abdul Hodge and Chad Greenway, you're going to be able to slow down the run. And so far, at least the 2nd series, a young defensive lineman of Iowa have answered the bell.
Brytis into punt, gets off a high but short spiral. Hinkle calls for the fair catch right around the 45-yard line. A 28-yard punt into the wind. And the Hawkeyes will have good starting field position when we come back from this break. Look at the birthday boy once again. We'll be back. Assume even more of a leadership role in that secondary. Beside him in this ball game, number 2, Ray Williams, is actually a wide receiver. So he got the start on the corner. Pollard, one of the more popular players amongst the students here. And he's trying to help out with Ray Williams, who got the start on the corner. Sees a lot of time at wide receiver. 2nd down and 7. Tate with plenty of time. And sacked back at the 33-yard line. Brent Grover making the play for the Boilermakers.
Well, it's a good job of zone coverage, this is what they call the pressure sack. When you're able to cover the receivers of Iowa downfield and your defensive linemen keep working. Right here, you'll see Grover. He's keep working. He's getting double teamed, but he's not giving up on the play, and he just keeps driving and grunting and snorting and doing what big defensive linemen do. Hustling, basically, never quitting, making a great play, great effort play for the coverage sack. That's got to be encouraging for Brock's back.
It's up a 3rd down and 13. They have to get to the 19-yard line for the 1st down. Blitz coming. Tate. Solomon high for the catch. Lunging for the 1st down at the 14-yard line. That time he was working on Zach Logan, and Drew Tate gets up slowly after absorbing a hit. But an 18-yard pickup for the 1st down.
I'll tell you, this is what makes Drew Tate the competitor that he is. Well, right there, Edwards comes in and it hits him right with his arms exposed. He gets him right in the rib cage, but that's a solid shot and a good play by Solomon going up and getting the football. They came with a weak side corner blitz, which is a zone blitz. And that leaves the open side of the field where Solomon ran a little bit vacated. Drew Tate recognized and delivered.
1st down and 10 from the 14-yard line. Tate hands it off to Young. Young down to the 5-yard line. Ben Gates with a nice block up front on the offensive line. They get 9 in that jump. We're here at Ross H. Stadium, West Lafayette, Indiana. I'm Mark Jones, along with Chris Spielman and Rob Stone down in the field. We're knotted at 7 apiece here, and this is the conference game between Iowa and Purdue. Purdue coming in at 0-1, Iowa at 1-1. Neither team can afford a loss, albeit at this early juncture of the Big Ten Conference play. 2nd and 2, Young. Hours ahead and has a 1st down inside the 4-yard line.
You know, Kirk Ferentz mentions his team's looking for an identity. Well, he's starting to find that identity the way Albert Young is hitting up in there. And the offensive linemen are doing a good job of changing the line of scrimmage. Even when it looks like it's stopped up, you look up and they still get 2 or 3 yards on something that looks like nothing. So that's their identity right now. And the more they run the football, the more dangerous Drew Tate comes. And also, I like them getting Solomon involved, who's been kind of invisible this year.
1st down and goal. The Banks line up out of the eye. Tim Bush is the lead back at fullback. Play fake. Touchdown. The backup tight end, Ryan Majerus, with the catch.
Well, that's on Ray Williams, Mark, the young corner, senior player, but he's been a wide receiver, played corner in high school. If he bites up for the run, the tight end just sneaks to the corner in the end zone, and Drew Tate threw that off of his back foot. What's good play fake right here. Williams has no business up in that run area. He shouldn't be chasing from behind. An easy throw, easy catch. And they're exposing the weakness of the Purdue defense and the youth as far as the experience. Majerus knowing where to go.
His first touchdown catch of his career. You never know that this is a sold-out crowd here at Ross-Ade Stadium. The Boilermakers down by 7 points. And Reese Davis there drawing straws to see who gets to line up against that Boilermakers secondary.
And the Husker secondary is not having much success with Texas Tech, even at home. Cody Hodges finding Joel Fulani, and that made it a 14-0 game. And Texas Tech just seconds ago scored again. Fulani scoring again.
Well, so much for payback as far as Nebraska goes. Let's take one more look at that touchdown catch by Majerus. Unimpeded coming out of there.
You see Williams? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Right here, there's Williams. He sneaks up, he's got to get back there. That's his man, there's a banjo coverage.
Ray Williams got the start on the corner. Usually plays wide receiver. They have been really nicked up and injured in the secondary. Brian Hickman suffered what could turn out to be a season-ending elbow injury last week against Notre Dame. And there's a look at Majerus, who caught the touchdown pass a few moments ago. Just under 6 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Dorian Bryant now going back deep for the Boilermakers.
Well, they're just reeling on the defensive side of the Purdue, and you know, part of it is the injury bug, and you're playing with inexperienced guys back there. But still, that's a basic play, 101, that you do not let anybody get behind you. That's a play that everybody runs from Little League on up to the pros. Fullback in the flat, corner in the end zone, or tight end in the end zone.
For the third consecutive time, Bryant will have to take a knee, come out on the 20, and tonight ESPN has a pivotal game of the Big Ten standings as A.J. Hawk and Ohio State take on Penn State in Happy Valley. College football prime time presented by Polaroid on ESPN tonight at 7:45 Eastern. Number 6 Ohio State against number 16 Penn State. And what a resurgence Joe Pa's team has undergone this year, led by a couple of freshmen too.
Well, it's still a questionable surgeons. I mean, they're going to find out tonight how good they are. I mean, Penn State will tell you that.
Brandon Pierce, a perfect 4 for 4 so far, but his team is down by 7. To the flat, complete to number 28, Dustin Keller, the backup tight end. Now that's a player that Jim Chaney has been expecting some big things from. He's a former state high jump champion, and that is a real testament to the type of athletic talents that he has. But he's been slowed down by an ankle injury a couple of weeks ago.
And he's also a basketball player too, and Coach Chaney was all excited about him in preseason, thinking he's going to be his second option. Anytime you have a tight end that can stretch the field, that just opens up a world of opportunity for play calling for Jim Chaney.
Picked up 14, first down. Ryan makes the catch at the 40. All the way down to the 43, just about a yard short of the first down. Edmund Miles made the stop on the play for the Hawkeyes.
Well, this is Brandon Kirsch, and I think what people from Purdue and Coach Tiller expected the type of player he could be. I mean, he knows where he's going with the football, and the best thing they did for Brandon, they cut out, as you mentioned, Mark, 35% of the offense, and you eliminate thought. When you bring in thought, you bring in hesitation, which brings trouble.
Second down and 1 for the Boilermakers. Pierce now in the option, takes the pitch to Sheets. Into the boundary, nice play by Sheets to make one player miss. Number 13, Charles Godfrey, missed the tackle on Sheets, and it's a 1st and 10. An 8-yard pickup by Corey Sheets out of Connecticut.
Well, last year, Kyle Orton wasn't the option quarterback. That's a new thing that they added to their offense, is the option game. And Brandon Kirsch has not been reading the defensive end previous games. Well, he read the defensive end great and delivered a strike on the pitch. Corey Sheets has a little burst about him.
First down and 10. Pierce completes it to Charles Davis. Davis dragging Greenway down to the 40-yard line, picked up 9. Second down into about 1. Pierce still perfect so far in the ball game, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that Joe Tiller's head coach banned Pierce from speaking with the media this week. Tiller says that he did it in part to protect his players, sometimes a little bit over-emotional, and subsequently didn't want to provide the opponent with any kind of locker room fodder.
He's got to go to the media education seminar that they provide for players nowadays.
2nd down and 1. Davis in motion. Pierce takes off with it, has Sheets with him as a lead blocker. And got the first down at the 35-yard line. For more on Pierce, let's go to Rob.
Yeah, Coach also added about that media availability cutoff thing that I think due to his lack of experience with the media, he overthinks his answers, and they don't exactly come out right. He admitted, we probably need to do a better job of coaching him on that. Freedom of speech also denied to strong safety Bernard Pollard this week, so it's 2 guys with the button lips.
Right now, Pierce's play is doing all the talking for him, Rob, as Sheets brought down by Greenway at the 34-yard line. Chad Greenway leads the Big Ten Conference in tackles.
Well, Chad's a big guy at 6'4", 245 pounds.
You like him?
Oh, I like him a lot. I think both guys, Abdul Hodge and Chad Greenway, are excellent linebackers. The thing I like about them, they both can run, and they're very instinctive.
Played 8-man football back in high school in Largo, South Dakota. Grew up on a farm. Tell you more about that in a moment. Here's Pierce back to pass with plenty of time. Is going to take off with it. And Brandon Pierce met once again by Greenway at the 28-yard line. And back to Greenway. It's interesting. A couple of years ago, he was telling me that his mom and dad couldn't make this same game against Purdue because, like I said, he was raised on a farm. They were having a delivery taken of 100 hogs. The pigs were a little more important that day, man.
But, yeah, hey, well, here he gives a big suey right here. You can hear it. Oh.
He brought some bacon, all right.
He brought a verdict with him, and he said, "You're guilty, Kirsch."
They're down in 2.
I love that.
They get down to about the 25-yard line. Pierce fires, and it's incomplete. We've seen that movie before. Dorian Bryant struggled a couple of weeks ago. He had 5 drop passes against Minnesota when they lost in overtime in Minneapolis, and that was Kirsch's first miss.
It was a little bit behind him, but he had to throw it behind him because the safety was coming from the inside. He threw it behind him on purpose, and that's one that Dorian has to come up with.
In to attempt a field goal now from about 44 yards out is Ben Jones, just his 3rd attempt on the season. He's 1 for 2. Brandon Kirsch is the holder because Kyle Smith, the regular holder, is out with a leg injury. Jones pushes it off to the right. Usually very reliable from that distance. Ben Jones missing that time, and Iowa will have the football.
Well, Mark, we talked about the big opportunity right here. And anytime Purdue's struggling on defense, you have a chance to get points on the board. Let's look at the hole with the new holder. Laces out, Finkel. Yes, he just missed the kick.
And ignominiously and unceremoniously falling on his backside. And remember, Rob Stone told us that that turf down there was a little bit slick and chewed up, and there's the evidence of that fact. 2:34 to go in the first period. Iowa leading 14-7. Drew Tate on the waggle. Threw it behind Chandler, incomplete, and we go back to Reese making a catch for us.
All right, Mark, Arizona and USC. The Cats were the last team to beat a #1 ranked USC team, and that was way back in 1981. It's tied at 7 when Matt Leinart finds Dwayne Jarrett. Very much like last year, SC just led 14-3 at the half. They won 49-9, 14-7 to score now.
All right, Reese, 2nd down and 10.
Arizona hanging in there a little bit, huh?
Well, everyone does for the first half, at least, seemingly, against USC.
Then you tick them off.
2nd down and 10. The backs line up out of the offset eye. Solomon is split to the short side of the field. Tate looks his way, and it's Solomon. First down out to the 43-yard line. He was working on Ray Williams, the corner.
Exploitation at its finest. I mean, Kirk Ferentz has been around football a long time. And this is nothing against Ray Williams. He's lining up, and see Brock's back giving, it's okay, Ray, it's okay. Just keep hanging in there and fighting. But if Ray's going to play defensive back, do not let the receiver beat you inside. He got beat inside and no hands on him. Solomon will put him on his highlight film.
He's already made it once. Solomon with a touchdown reception already. Play fake. Pass is complete to the fullback, Tim Bush, out around the 46-yard line. About 7 yards to go for the first down. Iowa comes into the ball game 3-2 overall, 1-1 in conference play. They've split the last 6 games, and Kirk Ferentz really has done an outstanding job with this program. His NFL roots very helpful to him at times. Has pedigree with Baltimore and Cleveland in the NFL, and Chuck Noll back in the old Steeler days. 2nd down and 7. Albert Young on the stretch zone play. He's brought down at the 43-yard line behind the line of scrimmage by Avril. That's a play you see Iowa run a lot, right, partner?
Well, yeah, I think anytime Iowa runs a football, they want to give the guy an option, different holes to go to. Obviously, you're leading outside, and you stretch the line of scrimmage. But you see Ray Williams right here. He's not in the huddle. He looks like the old lonesome man from Army. He's hanging out over there, and that's a little bit unusual, but not too much. They keep Ray out there and let him get the call and eliminate thought for Ray, because you can't ask him to do too much, and he doesn't stand for too much.
Out of the shotgun, Drew Tate. Complete to Hinkle for the first down and then some. Easy Ed down to the 13-yard line. First down, Hawkeyes.
That's not on Ray Williams right there. That's right on the linebacker George Hall. That was cover 3.
And Hinkle is shaken up, holding his right arm.
Again, Drew Tate's getting fine protection, and when you're running the football, you can do a lot of things, and he delivers strikes. You give him time like that, he'll make you hurt. So right here, Hinkle gets behind the linebackers right there. It was Bick and Hall, and if you're sneaking inside, you're going to attack the backside of cover 3. What that means, you're going to have 3 people deep and the weak side of the offensive formation in the seam down the field where it'll be. And that's a big loss. If you hurt, don't forget Ed Hinkle returns punts.
Ed Hinkle out of Erie, Pennsylvania, the team's leading receiver coming in, picked up 43 yards on that catch, moving the ball down to the 14-yard line.
We're going to get a big dose.
At Malloy in for Hinkle. On 1st and 10.
Look at the depth of the tailback right here. That's telling me run right automatically.
He gets it. It's Young. Coming up off the corner to make the initial hit was Zach Logan. Nice play that time. Logan and Williams getting the start on the corners. You know, Zach Logan last week, after the loss against Notre Dame, the next morning he was the first player in the coach's offices watching film. Stayed there for almost 12 hours trying to really reapply himself and get back in a groove of sorts, albeit so far seemingly a little bit unsuccessful as the secondary has taken some early knocks in the ball game. Iowa at the end of the first quarter leading 14-7. Purdue trying to boil her up, but Clinton Solomon making that difficult, and Tate is having a heck of a birthday so far. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone, for the beginning of the second quarter. 14-7, Iowa leading Purdue, and Ed Hinkle right there shaken up a few moments ago with a compression cast on his right arm. Hinkle, the leading receiver for the Hawkeyes coming into the ball game. Right now they're doing without him. Nose of the ball resting just shy of the 16-yard line of Purdue. It's 2nd down and 12 for Iowa. Drew Tate in at quarterback has really put up some impressive numbers after 15 minutes of play. 188 total yards of offense.
Now get your pass rush shoes on. Albert Young's right here. That's pass all the way.
Tate looks his way, but throws it away over the middle, incomplete. Let's take a look at our Napa game track. Some of the cogent points of the game so far. Corey Sheets led Purdue down the field on the opening drive of the ball game. 59 yards rushing in all, and capping it off with a touchdown. But Clinton Solomon caught this pass and housed it. Over 80 yards for the score on the pass from Drew Tate. That tied it 7 apiece, and then they went ahead, and right now Ed Hinkle heading to the Hawkeye locker room. Tate out of the shotgun. Backside pressure. And he throws it away.
Smart play by Drew Tate. Again, lost opportunity, though, for Purdue. If you have him in your grasp, if you tackle him, you take Iowa out of field goal position. But Drew Tate, being a savvy young veteran that he is, spun out of there and threw it into the stands.
Sets up a 4th down, Chris, and Kyle Schlicker in to attempt this field goal. 4 for 4 on the season. This one will come from about some 34 yards out.
Schlicker will attempt the 33-yard field goal.
The Purdue game last year, Schlicker really came of age. He was 4 for 4 on the day and continues to have fortuitous times against the Boilermakers. Right now, the Hawkeyes, offensive problems? What problems? We'll be back. Back here in the second quarter, 14:43 to go in the first half. Iowa with a 17-7 lead. After that field goal a few moments ago, Dorian Bryant going back deep to get the kick for the Boilermakers. Purdue has lost a couple of games in a row after a 2-0 start in the season. Losses in Minneapolis against the Gophers, and then last week here at home against Notre Dame. Seemingly still reeling from that defeat. Bryant going to get an opportunity to run this one back. Bryant brought down at the 18-yard line. Let's go downstairs to Rob Stone for more on Ed Hinkle.
Yeah, Mark, that was a costly drive for Iowa. What you had seen on him a couple minutes ago is what they call a vacuum splint on that right wrist/forearm area. As you take a look at the injury now, information from the head trainer was relayed to me. They're telling me it is a broken arm. They're not telling me which bone. He has already left the stadium on his way to get that x-rayed.
That would be a bad break. No pun intended for Iowa. Hinkle came in as the team's leading receiver.
There's a comfort zone for Drew Tate. He's farm Solomon today. Got to be able to adapt, improvise, overcome.
First down and 10 for the Boilermakers. A motion penalty going to go against Purdue. Brandon Kirsch got off to a very hot start in this ball game.
Start. Offense. Number 40. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Go first down.
Kirsch made his first 7 pass attempts. Completed them. Right now, 7 of 8. You see that wristband. I was talking about it earlier. That he has some 100 plays on there, but has been pared down some 35% for this game.
That'd be 65 plays.
Hey, not bad. Math major. First and 15. Sheets trying to cut it back, brought down to the 17-yard line by Brian Madison. Dorian Bryant now shaken up after that kickoff return a few moments ago.
Yeah, that's the risk if you have your speed guy, your number 1 wide receiver on kickoff return. You're going to take shots on the kickoff return. He took a good shot right there.
Limped off after that. It's second down and 15 for Purdue. Kirsch out of the shotgun. The flag complete to Sheets, and Sheets is brought down at the 14-yard line. Sets up a third down and long. They've got to get all the way to the 27-yard line.
Well, I like the adjustments that Norm Barker's done ever since that first drive. They're doing a great job, and a lot of that's due to the fact that the young defensive line for the Iowa Hawkeyes are playing well.
Third down and long. Purdue hasn't converted on third down yet today. Kirsch complete for the first down at the 31-yard line to Kyle Ingram. A big target at 6'9", 228 pounds. A guy who's kind of coming back from a little bit of an ankle injury.
Watch this strike right here. Brandon Kirsch does a nice job of setting his feet. He's looking all the way. Ingram has a lot of room to work with. Makes the catch. See, they're going to have 3 receivers. They're going to work the single receiver right side. Watch Ingram come back for the football. Kirsch is looking at him all the way, understanding, reading the defense, and knowing where it's going to go by the pre-snap read.
Sheet stays on his feet after absorbing a hit and is brought down to the 37-yard line, picking up about 5. Let's go back to Reese in the studio.
All right, Mark, high-powered offense of Louisville getting cranked up against North Carolina. Tar Heels off to a 2-2 start and tied 7-7 when Brian Braun finds Michael Bush. Bush, 9th in the nation in rushing, showing his value as a receiver. 17-7 Cardinals.
All right, Reese, second down and 4 back here. Kirsch pulls it out of Sheets' tummy, and it is almost picked off by Chad Greenway.
There's something that Chad can do. You show range in his pass drop, and what he does is he undercuts the outcut. Chad Greenway doesn't think he can get there, but remember, Chad Greenway, or Brandon Kirsch doesn't think he'll get there. Look at Chad Greenway, read pass and watch his angle. Takes a great angle, turning his head, finding and looking up the receiver. Blown opportunity though, Chad. That might have been 6.
Tough catch, partner. Come on.
I'm tough on the linebackers. It hits your hands, you catch it. No, it's a great break on the football. Great recognition.
Brandon Jones in a tailback. Pierce fires complete to Charles Davis. Davis, one of the guys they're looking towards, making some big plays for them, and Davis picks up the first down, gaining 12 yards. Davis, basketball player formerly for the Purdue Boilermakers. I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman. And Chris, so far the quick tempo of the Boilermakers offensively seems to be working. The problem is defense, though.
Well, and we knew that would be the problem. And, you know, Iowa's offense has struggled. Purdue's defense looks like Iowa's offense got its problems fixed. Now Purdue's defense has to come out and respond to the challenge that Drew Tate's bringing. Interesting that during Joe Tiller's tenure here, 9 years in all, he has not undergone the type of scrutiny that he has during the past week. Didn't seem to bother him, though, did it? No. Joe Tiller is still as jovial, and at least with us. Pierce brought down at midfield, right near the line of scrimmage at the 49-yard line. This is not a head coach that's going to panic, and neither will Kirk Ferentz. Well, although you see some bilious oratory coming from his mouth. He's a little hot right now. Not only that, I bet you there's some bad words. Under 12 minutes to go, yeah. Pretty, normally pretty even-tempered. Yeah, he is. That's passion. Don't mistake panic for passion. Love it. Yeah, Dorian Bryant back in the ballgame. Couple of teams on the field right now fighting for an identity, fighting for a win. Pierce bottled up and brought down on the other side of midfield at the 48-yard line. Alex Wilcox and Ken Iwebama. Well, you're starting to see the maturity of the Iowa defensive line, Mark. And when those guys play well, like I said, it helps Abdul Hodge play better. But Madison's a guy that's working. He's getting penetration, and he's working on a new offensive tackle, Garrett, number 51. Madison has a motor. And you see him penetrating on the run and getting a pass rush like that, that does nothing but help Iowa's defense, because it helps everybody when you get the pass rush. We've got to point out, number 51 there, Garrett Miller is the new starting right tackle. He's in for Sean Sester on the offensive line. 3rd down and 10 to go for the Boilermakers. Kearse almost picked off at the 35-yard line by Antoine Allen. Nice job by Ingram for turning into the intended receiver to the defensive back. And Allen now comes up limping for Iowa. You keep an eye on that, because if he's in the game, you go deep right away on him. Or if his substitute's in the game, the next offensive series, you test him. Well, Allen remembers fondly the days playing against Purdue a couple of years ago when Purdue had a kick blocked, which is coming up right here, and Allen ran it back 85 yards for a score. Ron Johnson standing on his own 10-yard line. Brightus punting from his own 40. A high spiral. It goes into the end zone. It'll come back out to the 20-yard line. 49 on the punt, nothing on the return. Drew Tate coming back on offense for the Hawkeyes when we come back.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by the Girl in the Moon, Savor the Highlight, and Marvel Nemesis, in stores now.
5th version of the Boilermaker special, but Chris is like my dad used to say to me. He said, son, sometimes you're on the right train, but the wrong track. Right now, Purdue on the wrong track, on the wrong side of a 17-7 verdict. It's not complete. Albert Young trying the right side of that offensive line and finding some success down to the 27-yard line. One more look at that injury suffered by Antoine Allen here. But first, Kyle Ingram makes his cut, Chris. Look at the turf come up, and then Allen had his ankle rolled on right there by Ingram. That's where you get that high ankle sprain, too, when it rolls inside like that. Ingram looks like a tall, skinny guy, but he's 230 pounds coming down on his ankle. Let's go to Rob.
Yeah, guys, they're calling it a right ankle sprain. His return questionable, according to their medical staff.
Rob on 2nd down and 3. Young stopped up and then kept those legs going. Got the first down out at the 33-yard line. Albert Young, part of 4 running backs that will see action today for the Hawkeyes. And the good news for Kirk Ferentz, Chris, is that unlike last year, this year their backs have been healthy. Last year, Albert Young blew out his ACL in the 2nd game of the season. That was on the heels of Marcus Schnoor blowing out his ACL in the 1st game of the season. Yeah, watch number 34, the linebacker for Purdue coming. Bam, you see that thing fly up out of there? That was a mouthpiece that flew about 50 yards in the air. That's how
how you step up and take an ISO block. But Albert Young running tough. Yeah, great. When you see mouthpiece of equipment fly off, you got to put that on.
It's down in 10. Pass complete to Majerus, who caught a touchdown a few moments ago out near the 40-yard line, brought down by Zach Logan. Drew Tate really seems to be in sync more than at any other time this year, especially on the road. I want to point out that Iowa, before scoring a touchdown against Purdue in the first quarter, had not scored on the road in 2 previous road contests against Ohio State and Iowa State.
Well, you almost think that this is the right tonic to play a struggling and injured Purdue defense.
The offensive coordinator for the Hawkeyes, looking at 2nd down and 4. Albert Young with a nice seam on the right side of the offensive line has another Hawkeye first down. Let's go to Reese in the studio.
All right, Mark, Texas Tech jumped all over Nebraska, up 21-0, but the Huskers finally get a little offense going. Cody Glenn getting in there, and Nebraska on the board. It's 21-7 late in the first half.
Back here, Reese. It's first down and 10 from the 47-yard line. Coach's perspective. First and 10. That's Majerus in motion. Young brought down short of the field, got about 2 on first down, brought down by Eugene Bryden. Tomorrow night, 2 teams on the rise in the AFC, led by 2 young QBs, meet on ESPN Sunday Night Football. It's the Bengals against the Jags. Carson Palmer and Byron Leftwich going head-to-head. The Bengals and Jags also available in high definition on ESPN HD. Coverage begins with NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite, Sunday at 7:30 Eastern Time. Sean Green in the ball game now, along with Damian Sims. The draw to Sims, and he's stopped up behind the line of scrimmage by Brandon Villarreal. He's been one of the more vocal players, trying to get their players to, as Rob pointed out earlier, check their egos at the door.
Well, and Brandon is a guy that's been there, and you know, when he speaks, he has credibility because of the position that he plays. That's a difficult position to play defensive tackle, and he also makes plays like that one right there. An outstanding job of defeating a blocker and tackling him back in space.
Third down coming up, 11 to go for the Hawkeyes. They're 3 of 4 on third down today.
There's Solomon right there if you want to know. They've been going to him on these big third down situations.
Tate looks for Solomon and couldn't come up with him. Overshot him at the 40-yard line. And Tate knew that he had one there. He let him go.
He was throwing on the run a little bit. The ball was delivered a little high. It set his feet delivered. He's a much more accurate thrower, although he can throw on the run. But a very big stop for Purdue's defense, just to get some type of confidence to force Iowa to punt.
4th and 11. And Fenstermacher looking for his first punt of the day. Hangs it up high, a high spiral. Back at the 10-yard line. Fair catch called by Melvin. A 44-yard punt, nothing on the return. And for Joe Tiller's crew, they're giving themselves a checkup from the neck up. As the song goes, you got to check yourself, Chris, before you wreck yourself. We'll be back after this. Boilermakers trying to snap out of their malaise, down by 10 points with 7:02 to go in the first half. Sean Sester, number 74, back in the ball game on the offensive line for the Boilermakers. First down and 10 from their own 10. Pierce fires complete out at the 16-yard line. A nice toss by Brandon Kirsch, who started this game off red hot. Kirsch found his intended target, Greg Orton.
Again, if you've been on the bench for a while, Jim Cheney wants to get Brandon back into a rhythm. How do you get him back into the rhythm? You hit him with the 3-step drops.
A quick jam pass complete to Dorian Bryant, who's back in the ball game. And Reese, it's good to see him back in. Back to you.
All right, guys, let's check in now on USC and Arizona. Lindale White going in for the Trojans. They get the second half off to a strong start. They stuffed Arizona in the kickoff return, 21-7, so early in the third.
Purdue went down to Arizona and beat the Wildcats earlier this year. Of course, that was seemingly ages ago now. The pass incomplete, and that's going to be a pass interference call against number 26, seemingly Javon Johnson.
Might be offensive pass interference right there. Because Johnson had a great break on the football. He read Brandon Kirsch's mail. He knew where that ball was going. He broke on the route before Orton broke on the route. All right,
Yep. Got it right.
That's actually a smart play by Orton. We're going to see right here. They're going to break on the route. Bam, he's going to beat him to the ball. It's an excellent break on the football, avoiding contact, and Orton does a great job of taking the penalty and not giving up the turnover. But Johnson reading the mail. I like it.
Keep
Pass
possession.
interference on the offense. Number 21. Half the distance to the ball from the previous spot.
No, we saw
No first down.
Brandon Kirsch was off limits to the media, but so far his game doing the talking. 12 of 15 passing, 117 yards. His counterpart, Drew Tate, 8 of 13 with a couple of touchdowns. That's the Player of the Year candidate many people expected to see a couple of games ago for Iowa.
There's Adam Shaded down there taking Antoine Allen's place at corner.
And some flags down in the field.
Prior to the snap. Ball start on the offense. Number 56. 5-yard penalty. Go first down.
Well, Brandon Kirsch says that, you know, they tried to tone me down. The coaches did earlier in my career, but I'm still kind of set in my ways. Those ways a little bit on the flamboyant side, but if you ask him again, he will admit that he has toned it down just a touch. His coaches describe him as being reckless, but in a good way, and has been using a lot better discretion this year when running the ball. It's first down and 26 for the Boilermakers. Kirsch fires complete to Bryant. And get back some of that yardage out of the 18-yard line. Godfrey made the stop on the play in the secondary.
You know what I like about Brandon Kirsch this afternoon? We watched Purdue play 2 weeks ago. Is that his patience is much better. And I think by Jim Chaney removing 35% of the offense, it lets Brandon focus on his 65%. He becomes much more effective because he's more aware of where to go with football.
Passes the complete this time to the 25-yard line to Chathams. And let's go back to Reese in the studio.
All right, Mark, and once again, Nebraska and Texas Tech. Husker spotted him 21, but Cody Glenn going to try to get him back in. It is second touchdown of the day. It's 21-14 now. They're at the break in Lincoln.
Didn't Texas Tech put 70 up on Nebraska last year?
Well, something like that. I'm sure Nebraska can tell you. Antoine Allen, meanwhile, back in the ball game at corner for Iowa.
I would test the ankle, Mark. Antoine's up here. I'd test it right now.
On third down and 8.
He's limping.
Hawkeyes rushing 3. But they couldn't convert it. The pass dropped by Orton. Kirsch threw a dart to him.
No, Kirsch, he's on target. I mean, he's delivering strikes. Watch Antoine Allen. He's going to be limping. He's got a little giddy up in his giddy up. See that? There's kind of a hop. And Orton get one right in the chest, and he took his eyes off the football. And he caught it with his chest. Go out and catch the ball with the hands. Don't let it come to your chest.
All right, Dave Brydas into punt now, Chris, on his own 11-yard line. His third of the afternoon. Jovan Johnson standing at his own 37. Iowa came after him, and he responds with a great punt all the way back to the 20-yard line. Johnson hand-walking and tripped up at the 27-yard line. That one a nice effort. 55 yards in all, and 8 yards on the return. And Chris, a punt or anything in the air that long should have had a movie on it.
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was a great kick. But the one thing you want to talk about, we just talked about the catch. What happened was Orton let the ball come to his chest. Great receivers come out and grab the ball, then tuck it away and not look before the ball comes. But if I'm Purdue, I'm not worried because Brandon Kirsch is on time and on target. He can get this offense rolling.
Well, the Hawkeyes have had no such troubles hanging onto the football so far. They lead 17-7. Tate completes the pass to number 84, Matt Malloy.
I'm going to give Ray Williams a pass, Mark.
Why?
Well, I mean, he made a nice open field tackle.
Okay.
But it was nasty looking because Ray's a wide receiver and he's doing a great job and he's playing with heart. He hasn't tackled in 3 years. He comes up making an open field tackle, but he fell on his backside. Don't fall down on your backside.
The second down and 6.
Your rear end's not your friend in that situation. You want to use your rear end for power.
The receiver screen, it's complete. Got down at the 35-yard line is Scott Chandler, the tight end, about a yard short of the first down by Cliff Avril. You know, you saw the tackle there, Chris. Sorry to cut you off, but Brock Spack mentioned last week they missed an inordinate amount of tackles. He says usually they'll miss about 13 or 14 tackles. Last week they missed about 20 against Notre Dame.
A nice little chess game going on here, where I was going to no huddle trying to get Purdue in a short yardage situation and run the sneak before Purdue gets set.
And Drew Tate kept it himself. It's going to be very, very close. He had to get to about the 36-yard line, but he looks like appeared to our line that is a little bit short.
Yeah, our yellow line guy's good. If he's on it, they're short.
Our yellow line guys should have helped us out, drawing a line between our bowling ball and the bowling pins last night. Mr. 70, whatever it was you bowled.
I don't want to talk about that.
And Ben Cerny, one of our crew members, got over 200, 202.
If you can drink beer and smoke cigarettes, it's not a sport.
And they are about that much short, probably about 8 inches. What do you think? Do you go for it?
No, I think you kick it away. Now he might
17-7 lead.
What he might do is try the old trick and hard count him, but I think you got to punt it away.
Wow, Drew Tate coming back onto the field. I guess they are going to at least appear to go for it.
This is a test. This is telling Purdue that you can't stop us.
Wow.
This is really calling them to the carpet.
One of the early defining points in the ball game. They're 2 of 6 on 4th down on the season. Tate gets his team quickly up to the line of scrimmage. They snap it fast. But there's a flag that comes down, and somebody may have jumped early.
Yeah, and that's inexcusable, Mark. Everybody knows you don't jump the snap. It's a hard count. They're back at their own 34-yard line. They are not going to go for it.
Prior to the snap, offside, defense, number 55, 5-yard penalty, block yardage, first down.
That's a Villarreal deal right there. And he's a veteran. He knows better. Check it. It's not Villarreal. Both of them jumped. Mark, Iowa did a great job. You see how they sprinted up to the line of scrimmage? It's kind of a sense of urgency.
Right.
Well, that got Purdue's, and they're not holding their water. Their water burst right there. You got to be patient, understand the game, understand the ball, and what part of the field it's on Iowa's own 34. They're not going to go for it. It's smoke and mirrors, I tell you.
Drew Tate has shown a lot of poise today in the pocket, and that might be the byproduct of the conversation that his head coach, Kirk Ferentz, had with him a few days ago about controlling his temper. He has toned it down a little bit of late. 1st and 10. Albert Young on the handoff. Young drags the pile out near the 45-yard line. Anthony Spencer made the stop on the play for the Boilermakers.
4 yards. Tackle by Spencer.
3:36 to go in the first half.
Well, I like Young, Mark. I think Young runs hard. His legs keep churning and grinding. Boy, the missing link for last year's Iowa football team.
2nd down, 6.
2nd down and 6. Backs line up out of the eye. Drew Tate keeps it himself, tiptoes out of bounds, short of the first down. You know, initially, Drew Tate committed to Texas A&M University, but then changed his mind when they fired R.C. Slocum, the then head coach there. And it's interesting that Tate and Chris Leak, now at Florida, visited Iowa on the same weekend 3 years ago. And Tate wore his Letterman jacket. Kirk Ferentz was telling me about it, in his T-shirt. And all Tate said to Ferentz that weekend was, "Where's Leak going? I want to know." Wow. Leak decided to go to Florida, and the rest is a story that's been told. So Tate's been here.
You wear your ESPN jacket to the mall, don't you?
Didn't wear bowling last night. By the way, the bowling tour starts on ESPN in a couple of weeks. Tate on the move again, tiptoes out of bounds at the 45-yard line once again, short of the first down, but making a wise decision not to turn it over.
I'm going to give Ray Williams credit. Ray Williams did a great job of keeping contained on Drew Tate and forced him out of bounds by fighting off a block of Champ Davis for Iowa. That's a great job by Ray Williams, playing disciplined defense.
That time the Boilermaker defense making a little bit of a statement. Benson Mocker into punt, averaging a little over 43 on the season. Melvin fields it on the fly at the 25-yard line, a 29-yard punt. Nothing on the return, just under 3 minutes to go here in the first half of play. Brandon Kirsch trying to get that offense untracked for the Boilermakers. Welcome back to Ross-Ade Stadium. Purdue trailing by 10 with the ball, 1st and 10. The pass is complete just beyond the 30 to Kevin Noel. Working on Javon Johnson. Picked about 7 yards up. Brandon Kirsch and Purdue trying to snap out of a 2-game losing streak. They lost games to Minnesota and then Notre Dame last week here at home on 2nd down and 3 now. Looking Ingram's way. And fires incomplete. Let's go back to Reese in the studio for an Arizona USC update.
All right, Mark, and just when you think the Trojans are about to pull away, here come the Wildcats. 21-7 game in the 3rd quarter. Richard Kovalchuk finds Mike Thomas. Touchdown, and just like that, the Trojans being threatened in the 2nd half again.
Right, Reese. Looking at a 3rd and 3 here.
You have to wonder if their struggles in the 1st and 2nd half is going to start to catch up with them and maybe make voters rethink their position. I mean, Texas is rolling.
Notre Dame next week against USC. 3rd down and 3. The Irish with an extra week to prepare for that. Pass complete to Bryant, has the 1st down and brought down at the 45-yard line by Mike Humpel. Oh, the ESPN College Football Encyclopedia is the biggest reference guide ever published on the history of college football. Read about the profiles, records, stat leaders, fight songs of all the schools, box scores from every major bowl game ever played. Now available wherever books are sold. A great, great reference book, and enjoyed looking at the old-style helmets they used to have in that thing. 1st and 10, pass incomplete off of the hands of Dorian Bryant. I guess Bryant didn't see a little tutorial, Chris, on camera a few moments ago how to catch the ball.
No, it was a tough catch, but one that Dorian's certainly capable of making. I want to go back to that 3rd down and the continuing maturation of Brandon Kirsch. The recognition that he has. He had Humpel, who's a linebacker, on Dorian Bryant, and that could be the mismatch of the century. I mean, that's like you benching against me. There's no shot.
You had to go there, huh?
Or you had to go with that shot 70 in bowling last night. I'm going to bring out all the stops. I'm going to bring them out.
We'll get the bench up to 200 by next week. 2nd and 10. Pierce. Pass complete to Sheets. Sheets gets out in space before he's pushed out of bounds by Greenway, but he got the 1st down at the 42-yard line. Stops the clock with 2:04 to go in the first half of play. Purdue would do well to get some kind of points on the board before they get into the locker room. They pick up 13 that time.
There's no panic at Purdue, and the reason why there's no panic is because of the way Kirsch is playing. And Jim Chaney and Joe Tiller know that Norm Parker's a zone guy, and zones have weaknesses. And if they just stay patient and stay with what they're doing, they'll be able to hang in this football game.
1st down and 10. Ingram catches it and falls at the 30. Oh, it's about the 33, about a yard short of the 1st down. The coverage by Javon Johnson.
Now, I'll tell you, again, when you're throwing the ball before the receiver makes his break, just like Ingram did right there and Kirsch did, that's confidence. That's a confident throw. Javon Johnson's tapping himself on the head saying, I can't believe the dude threw the football. I mean, he threw it before he made his break.
2nd down and 1 now as a result. Ingram again has the 1st down at the 25-yard line. Ingram from good stock. His dad played football at Arizona. Corky and his mother, Susan, a former swimmer at the University of Arizona.
Well, here they're going to run a post corner. Watch it, or smash corner. There's a smash route. Here comes the corner behind. Draw the cornerback back. Throw it right there. That's football 101. And you high-low him. They high-low him on the outside. And when Brandon's reading it like he's reading it, it's an easy play to complete.
Tiller discovered him watching tape. Noticed that he was not only the deep snapper, but he made tackles as well on special teams back in high school. Here's Kirsch. Bryant. Touchdown, Boilermakers.
Mark, that is the same play they ran about the 3rd play of the game, and it was play action. You said, wait a second, Chris, I didn't see him fake a handoff. No, but they faked the option, and Dorian Bryant runs the 7 route or corner route, does a great job of transition after he catches the ball, and a great effort of diving in the E in the end zone.
Purdue with a chance to cut the lead to just 3 points with 1:23 to go in the first half. Brandon Keir still wears that flamboyance on his sleeve, has a diamond earring that Coach Tiller still kind of gives him a hard time about, but that diamond is 14 karat right now, Chris.
There's the route right there. You're going to see now. You'll see Brandon Kirsch. He'll fake the option right here. Look at Dorian Bryant. He's going to run a 7 route. See him kind of a lazy corner route, and watch him turn in transition. Poor job of tackling. We do not push Marcus. If Marcus wraps him up in the legs, he's down. But if you push, he actually pushes him forward, and he gets coned. He got the cone.
Gave him a little boost and help into the end zone.
Yeah.
That's the 3rd touchdown catch this season for Dorian Bryant.
No pushing, wrapping.
Nice to see Bryant come back from that injury that he suffered a little bit earlier. Was shaken up on that kickoff return. Bit of a kamikaze type in his own right. Dorian Bryant, an ex-Games enthusiast, I'm told. He likes skateboarding and BMX biking, although Joe Tiller doesn't let him skateboard around campus for obvious reasons.
Is he from California?
No, he's a Jersey guy.
My family, they can't be here every game.
Brandon Kirsch pounding his chest, telling everyone they're back. That drive eclipsing 8 plays and 8 passes. Boilermakers back in the ball game with 1:23 to go here in the first half.
Iowa with 3 timeouts left, plenty of time to work the clock.
Hawkeyes are going to start off on their own 20. And let's go to Reese, find out what's up at halftime. Reese?
All right, Mark, coming up on the Pontiac Performance Halftime Report, Lou and Mark alongside. As always, we'll show you how the Horns hooked them, why the Trojans are struggling a little bit, and also a Big Ten shootout, one like you guys might see in the second half, too.
And I'd like to talk about how a great quarterback, outstanding defense, good players can lead you to a championship. Texas and Georgia.
I'll tell you why USC is just playing around with Arizona like a cat with a ball of string. Looking forward to Notre Dame next week.
That seems to be their MO. They do it every week. We'll see if the Trojans turn it on again, Mark.
All right, Reese, that coming up at halftime. On the Pontiac Halftime Report, Drew Tate with the reins of the Iowa Hawkeye offense. His dad, Dick Olin, was his high school coach. Right now his college coach, Kirk Ferentz, of course. And timeout down to the field. Both teams with a pair of timeouts remaining. Drew Tate turning 21 years old today. We'll go back to the Wayback Machine, the last time that Iowa won here at Ross-Age Stadium. Hey, that's Jim Coletta, the then head coach, and that's Hayden Fry. Hawkeyes, Mike Saunders led the team to a 31-21 win, and Saunders had a huge day for the Hawkeyes.
If I wouldn't know better, that kind of looks like the Steelers versus the Saints, and that's Franco. But no, it's Mike Saunders.
I like that. Gate does look a little Franco Harris-like, huh? Take a look at the series history. The two teams have split the last 6 games. Last time Iowa won here was 1991. We just saw that. And Purdue leads the overall series. This is the 78th edition of Purdue against Iowa, which finds Joe Tiller's team under siege right now. Some very critical articles written about him and the program in the last couple of days, but they need to think back to when they had lost 12 consecutive losing seasons before Tiller got here. Some people with very short memories. Albert Young off the right side, and Albert Young out to the 33-yard line, picking up a first down.
Well, Purdue's playing a one-gap defense. And what happens is Kyle Williams, a young linebacker, shoots in there, meets the play behind, but he gives up 1 for 1. He doesn't have to be 1 for 1. Watch Kyle Williams right here. He's going to come up and he's going to shoot here, and he's going to give up 1 for 1. What I mean by that, he's going to take on the fullback on the lead. See the fullback coming? He takes him on. He knocks the heck out of him. But that's like, 25 guard knockdowns or 25 fullback knockdowns, no tackles. He's got to be able to understand that he doesn't have to kill the ISO block. He has to hit and get. Hit the block, get off of him, and go. And that's dangerous there. Right there, you see
that's
Solomon down.
Solomon already has a touchdown catch, has 3 catches today for 112 yards. All that coming in the first quarter. He got rolled up on by Albert Young at the end of this play.
Looks like that's either knee or ankle right there. See his ankle all twisted, knotted in that turf.
I want to mention that Chris already lost Ed Hinkle to a reported broken arm. And, He was hurt, Solomon was, on that play, doing what Kirk Ferentz pointed out to us earlier in this week. Says Clinton Solomon has done an outstanding job this year blocking downfield. He watched the tape of the last couple of games and made a point of commending and saying good job to the young man who limps off the field.
Well, I think Kirk is obviously concerned because of the loss of Hinkle, but he made a conscious effort to get Solomon the football, and Solomon has paid him well.
What do you do now? Get your two top receivers out of the ball game if you're Iowa. 1st and 10.
You hope somebody Wally pips him. That's the only thing. Guy gets an opportunity, he's got a shot.
Over the right side of the line, that's Tom Bush, the fullback.
This also helps Brock Spack in his defense, Mark. Now, they're not concerned. Obviously, coming in the game, you got Solomon and Hinkle, two big-time receivers. Now, this might allow him to bring the safety up a little bit and play a little bit more of an 8-man front because, to me, Iowa's playing it close to the vest here. You're at the 40-yard line. You got time left.
Take a shot.
Hey, let's go.
And 2 timeouts as well. Clint Solomon being attended to on the sidelines for Iowa. Gonna let this run down. Under 30 seconds to go now.
You never see that in the NFL, do you? Ever.
Tate hands it off. This is Young out to the 45-yard line. Got the first down. They'll stop the clock with 18 seconds to go in the first half of play. First half in which Purdue came out, took a 7-0 lead before Iowa stormed back with 17 consecutive points before that last touchdown by the Boilermakers.
There's a timeout by Iowa, and maybe I think they had to operate, Mark, with a little bit more sense of urgency. You might be able to pop one for 6, as opposed to me. That looked like they were working to get 3, but they let the time roll. They take their time, even though the clock stopped on the first down. You're still running up the clock. Now, one of the reasons why they might be doing this is the loss of Hinkle and Solomon.
Now they have Calvin Davis backing up Solomon and Herb Grigsby backing up Hinkle. Solomon up walking around a little bit, leads the team with 4 touchdowns this year receiving.
If that's an ankle, now you can walk on an ankle, but it's tough to push off. And understand, there's Rob down there. Rob will get the scoop, but you can understand it's tough to push off because you're making cuts in and out of breaks, and you can't put pressure on it. You can walk on it. I don't know if it's his knee or his ankle.
Well, prior to this game, we asked Kirk Ferentz about the fact that they've struggled on the road, and he really downplayed the significance of that. It's been mentioned a lot during the past couple of road losses, and he said we have no road phobia. If you look back over the years to our success over the road, I think it really dispels that notion, and the stats bear that true. 1st down and 10, and they're going to take a knee and go to the locker room with a 17-14 lead, a game in which a couple of teams facing big-time pressure, albeit early.
I've got to believe, Mark, the only reason he does that is because he's absent Hinkle and Solomon.
Time for the Pontiac halftime report. 17-14 at the break. And hey, Reese Davis, you know what they say about pressure? Pressure busts pipes and pressure makes diamonds. Someone's got to be a diamond at the end of this.
It's happened all day, Mark, in the Big Ten and elsewhere right now. Glad to have you along.
Welcome, everyone, back to Ross-Ade Stadium here in West Lafayette, Indiana. Purdue down by 3 against Iowa. Time now for our Napa Auto Parts game track. Clint Solomon made the first big play of the game for the Hawkeyes. Going over 80 yards for this touchdown on the catch from Drew Tate. Drew Tate also threw a touchdown pass to Ajaris there. Then Purdue came back. It was 17-7 at that point. Dorian Bryant plunging into the end zone to make it 17-14. That's where we are now. Purdue going to kick off to start the second half of play, and there's Dorian Bryant on the special teams.
Dorian's going to be playing safety, I'll tell you that right now.
Sims and Young back deep for Iowa on the kickoff. This will go out of bounds. A flag comes down, and the Hawkeyes will get a chance to start off on their own 35-yard line, most likely.
Free kick out of bounds on the kicking team, number 16. Ball be put at the 35-yard line. 1st down.
I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman. Rob Stone down in the field for this, the 78th chapter and edition of Iowa against Purdue. And Chris, coming into the ball game, Iowa was last in the Big Ten in offense. They have over 250 yards of total offense. What do you make of that so far?
Well, you're playing against the 116th ranked defense, and that helps, But Drew Tate is comfortable. and confident. Now he's got to come back and see what he can do without his 2 wide receivers.
Tate out of the backfield to Young. Young, a good receiver, makes a couple of players miss. And is brought down to the 43-yard line. Averill making the stop for the Boilermakers. Let's go downstairs to Rob Stone.
Mark spoke with Joe Tiller coming onto the field just before second half kickoff. Very upbeat. He said, we're going to start in our hurry-up offense. Don't be surprised if we almost go immediately to our 2-minute offense. On the flip side, for Iowa, quick update on Clinton Solomon, the wide receiver. You saw him go down. He is in. He will be able to play. It's a right knee, probable. Coach thought he's going to play. No, he is going to play.
See what kind of impact he can have the rest of the way here, Rob, as Young runs it into the boundary, brought down to the 46-yard line by George Hall. And he got the first down for the Hawkeyes.
Well, you see him now. I just kept an eye on ISO Clint Solomon. The thing I saw is that he's running off the ball pretty well, but he's going into his breaks a little bit gingerly, and he's not really busting his rear end to get a block down the field, so he's protecting himself a little bit. We're not going to get a true test to see how well his knee is until the ball's thrown to him. Then he'll pass or fail.
And Chris, that in addition to the fact that Ed Hinkle, the team's leading receiver coming in, is out of the game with a broken arm. Rob Stone reported that earlier. This is 1st and 10. Damian Sims now in a tailback for Iowa. Play fake by Tate. Dumps it off to Majerus, the tight end, and Majerus with some hard running got the first down at the 42-yard line. Time now for the Gillette MP3 Power First Half Statistics. Talked about Iowa last in the conference in offense coming into the ball game. 252 total yards in the first half, and the big story continues to be, well, maybe the yards after catch, Chris. A propensity for missed tackles by the Boilermakers still.
Well, again, Drew Tate's making good decisions, and what helps Drew Tate is Young. Now you see the depth at Young. He's 8 yards back there. Normally when he's at that depth, see he's getting with Drew Tate which way to run. It's a check with me run. He's going to run away from the safety, and there he goes.
Got him into a good place. Sims down near the 36-yard line. Picked up about 6 on first down. Damian Sims, Sean Green, Marcus Schnoor, Albert Young, 4 tailbacks in all.
Now something, if you're Brock Spack, what you might want to do, you have the ability, Mark. The offense isn't the only team in the world that can audible on offense. You can audible on defense, and when you see the depth of that back like he is now, you might want to bring a safety up in the box. See, they only have 7 in the box. They're vulnerable to the run. And you keep running it if you're Iowa.
2nd down and 4. Or boot. Drew Tate with plenty of time. Tate wisely throws it out of bounds.
Tate's pass thrown away, incomplete.
It'll be 3rd down and about 4 to go now for the Hawkeyes.
Well, 2nd and 4 is a good time to take a shot down the field, which they tried to do off the play action. But I think you got to stay patient with the running game because Purdue has 7 men in the box. That means on offense, you can get a hat on a hat. And so far, I was been successful pounding it up inside.
What they've done throwing the ball, Chris, 223 yards today. That surpasses their season average. Champ Davis in the ball game now. A 3-receiver formation for Iowa. Malloy and Grigsby in at receivers. Pass was ruled incomplete, but it would have been short of the first down anyway. Hurt Grigsby. Couldn't hang on to it.
If you're Iowa, you hold on here now. You look at the field possession. They're right in between that area of punt or going for it. Now, obviously, they're out of field goal range, but early in the ball game, you want to win the field position battle. You got a good punter and fence marker. He comes in, lays it up short.
This is his 3rd punt of the afternoon, standing right at midfield. Averaging 37 yards on the day. Melvin back on his own 10 for the Boilermakers. Hangs it up high, going to try and stick this one inside the 10. He'll do just that, inside the 5 actually, down to the 4-yard line. That's good for the net punting average. 32 yards in all. Brandon Kirsch with 96 yards to go the other way. We'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event. Will one of the...
We're here on the banks of the Wabash River here in West Lafayette, Indiana, northwest Indiana. And let me get your portrait done here. And that's Simba on the left and Spider-Man on the right. And Well, speaking of Simba, I've seen the cycle of life in the Lion King, and right now Purdue on the bottom of that cycle of life and food chain. How's that for a segue, Chris?
I take Spider-Man and shoot some webs at Simba's eyes and web up his mouth. He wins.
First down and 10. Sheets got the handoff, stopped up behind the line of scrimmage by Chad Greenway. Well, he goes down in a heap.
I understand coming out and running the football, but what has got you where you are, that's in this football game, is the quick passing game. Until you develop the passing game, it's going to be difficult to run against Iowa. And a challenge that's been answered, and guys stepping up, is the Iowa defensive front today. They're playing very well for being a maligned unit.
Talking about Webema, Poole, King, Madison. On second down. Pass tipped at the line of scrimmage, incomplete, and back to Reese in the studio.
All right, Mark, once again, the Trojans and the Wildcats, and USC just can't quite put Arizona away. Fourth quarter up by 7. Matt Leinart, I'd say Matt Leinart, it's time to make a sandwich. Look at this beautiful throw to Dwayne Jarrett. Trojans just intercepted the Wildcats, 35-21 in the fourth.
3-point ball game here. Third down and long for the Boilermakers. They're 3 of 7 on third down this afternoon. Dorian Bryant, the slot receiver for the Boilermakers. Here's has all day. Like the two of them weren't on the same wavelength that time, as Kevin Noel was the closest receiver to the throw. Sails way over his head.
You know what happens a lot of times, what quarterbacks will see, they'll see a receiver being held. Right here, you're going to see Dorian Bryant. He's going to be held, so Brandon's going to throw the ball just to throw it to get an interference call. And that wouldn't be pass interference. That would be holding, because he's not the intended receiver, but they have a right to complain about that. They missed that one.
Yeah, that was Javon Johnson. Bryson to punt. Standing at the back of his end zone line. A returnable punt. Back of the 44. Johnson. And Johnson's going to give Iowa a great starting field position on this drive at the Purdue 33-yard line. A 40-yard punt, 11 on the return, and Drew Tate going to set to go to work one more time here. Try and put some points on the board in the second half right after this.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. And Gillette M3 Power Game Face College Tour. Visit us online at GilletteGameFace.com for more information.
Under the bright lights here at Ross-Ade Stadium, as dusk starts to roll in here under the autumnal hues. First down and 10. It's 17-14 Hawkeyes. Tate gets to the edge and fires a dart complete to Herb Grigsby, and that in part, temporarily anyway, might answer one of the questions for Iowa offensively. Who will step up and fill the huge gaping void left by Hinkle and, to a degree, Solomon? And what they've done in the last 4 drives, not that prolific. They picked up 12 on that play. Solomon in the ball game, but he was shaken up late in the first half with a knee injury.
I like the fact that they went back to Grigby. Remember, Grigby had a crucial third down drop. And Kirk Ferentz, knowing that he's going to need him because of the loss of Ed Hinkle, calls his number, and he steps up and makes the play.
Tate hands it off to Young. Great cut by Young down to the 9-yard line. Another Hawkeye first down. First and goal, Reese Davis. Back to you.
All right, Mark, check in on Texas Tech and Nebraska. Again, the black shirts had held the Red Raiders to a couple of field goals on a short field, and then Zach Taylor looking for Terrence Nunn, drills it in there, and here come the Huskers. It's 27-21 in the fourth.
You get the feeling that the last team to have the ball in that game will be the winner.
Seems a feeling in most college football games this year.
What a shootout between Wisconsin and Northwestern today. First and goal for the Hawkeyes, just inside the 10. Tate looking for the fade. Incomplete, intended for Grigsby.
Incomplete in the end
Good
zone,
coverage on the corner that time by Zach Logan.
This is a good job of Drew Tate throwing it where only Grigsby can get it. Now, a lot of times you might want to throw that behind. They call that the fade stop. They might want to come back to it because Zach Logan was trailing. And if you have late hands, that means you wait the very last second to turn back the ball. A lot of times that throw behind will get the corner off balance and you can make a play. Right here, Solomon, who's been inactive.
Second and goal. Solomon split to the bottom of your screen, but they run it. Great defensive play up front by number 30, George Hall. He's been the winner of the Pitbull Award for the last couple of years. They award that to the most tenacious player defensively in the spring and summer.
Yeah, George is playing a good football game. They're very active. What happens is I was going to vacate, and there's George Hall. They're going to vacate a lane, and George is going to shoot it. Right there. See, nobody comes up and picks him. They have the tackle trap on. George sees a hole, and he commits himself. That's not where he's normally supposed to be. But if he commits himself, he commits fully, and you can make an aggressive mistake on the defensive side of the ball like George did and still make a great play.
Back at the 14, third and goal. They go to Solomon. Incomplete. Ray Williams on the corner with the coverage. That time doing a fine job.
Yeah, Ray Williams got away with grabbing the jersey too. And, you know, they let him play a little bit. I like that. They're letting the receivers and defensive backs do battle. Ray Williams grabbed the jersey. Right here's this is again, they're going back to the fade to Solomon. Just too much, but right before our camera picked it up, Ray Williams got some jersey.
Kyle Schlicker coming in to attempt this field goal from 32 yards out. 1 for 1 already today. And he's perfect twice on the afternoon. Hawkeyes increasing their lead to 6 points, just under 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. We'll be back after this. These two teams have split the last 6 games down the middle, 3 apiece. Iowa leading by 6 right now, and tonight ESPN, a pivotal game in the Big Ten as A.J. Hawk and Ohio State going to Happy Valley for a meeting with Joe Pa and his young Nittany Lion team that holds the 3rd longest winning streak in Division I college football. College football primetime presented by Polaroid on ESPN tonight at 7:45 Eastern. Ohio State against Penn State. Hawkeyes to kick off. Bryant at the 10. Reverses his course. Brought down at the 23-yard line. Well, I don't know. Do you call this, Chris, what do you call this? Is that couch class or coach class?
I call it being a lazy fan. Get up and cheer. Let's go.
Time to boil her up. Fire up that engine. Speaking of firing up the engine, Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator for the Boilermakers, bemoaning and lamenting the fact to us earlier, Chris, that he can't remember a time when his offense has left as many points on the board as they have so far in the year.
They're averaging over 30 a game, too, so he thinks they should be around 40.
Here's back to pass. Ingram complete. First down at the 38-yard line, working on Adam Shada on the corner.
Again, the patience of Brandon Kirsch to let the route develop downfield, and the only way you can have that patience is you have excellent pass pro. I know Mark May would appreciate that, but you see the big fellas up front giving Brandon time to let the route develop downfield, and he can go to his first option. Ingram's going to come in and sit on a little curl route in between the safety and linebacker corner, and when he's throwing the ball like Kirsch, he's going to be successful.
Picked up 15, Kirsch. Incomplete, intended for Davis that time, broken up by Pascal. He was victimized a little bit earlier in the game. It sets up a 2nd down and 10.
One of the things that I managed to do was completely take away Purdue running the football. We talked to Jim Chaney. One of the things that we have not seen from Purdue is the option game, which they wanted that to be a part of their offense, but they felt that gives Brandon a little bit too much to think about.
It's going to be paramount today for him to make good decisions in that option game. Little play fake that time. Delivers a strike to Ingram again. And let's get a USC update from Reese. Reese, what's up?
Well, Mark, you remember last week how Lendell White and Reggie Bush took over the game when Arizona State challenged them. Arizona won't go away, so in a 35-21 game, there goes Reggie. Reggie ripping off the big gain on the right sideline. They'll haul him in inside the 10 while Reggie catches his breath. That gives Lendell White an opportunity to score his 4th touchdown of the day. Trojans going to go to South Bend unbeaten.
You don't see Reggie Bush getting walked too often.
No. Here's on the option. Sheets made a great cut. Corey Sheets still on his feet and got the first down as a result of that great, arduous effort down to the 35. Picked up 13 in all on the run.
Well, we just talked about it where Purdue, we haven't seen much option today, and Jim Cheney goes right to it. And one of the reasons why is that Brandon Kirsch has been having trouble reading the defensive end. Once your defensive end come out and see Brandon Kirsch is reading him, if he attacks, he pitches, and that's a great job of Corey Sheets turning on the Ben Johnson coming out of the blocks burst. When you have that, you can split those two guys. It's a great run by Corey Sheets, great vision.
First down and 10 out of the shotgun. Here's looking downfield. Batted away nicely by Pascal once again.
Now Pascal's doing a nice job, and Kirsch has to recognize, all right, wait a second here. I got Pascal checking in about 5'9", 5'10", and I got a big fella in Ingram at 6'9". Put the ball up there, make it a jump ball. I'm going to bet on the 6'9" guy.
Yeah, I got a mouse in the house.
Yeah.
Ingram, post him up.
Yeah, you got to throw it up there.
Instead, it sets up a second down and 10. Those of the ball resting on the 35 of the Hawkeyes. Purdue within 6.
The 2-minute offense, and the decision to go that route seems to be paying off for Purdue.
Kirsch is going to tuck it under and run it. Brandon Kirsch showing off his running skills down to the 27-yard line. It'll be third down and about 2 to go now for Purdue. Picked up 8 on the play.
Mark, this is old-time football. This is quarterback sweep. Watch all these guys getting around here to become lead blockers. Plus, you have 2 guys cracking back, lead blocker. That's just quarterback sweep. You don't see that very often, but when you have a mobile quarterback, that's one of the options that you have is to get him on the corner with 3 lead blockers.
It's up a third down and 1. On the option, Sheets. Brought down behind the line of scrimmage, Abdul-Haq and Marcus Pascal teaming up to make the stop.
A decision-making, again, that's where he struggles. He's not batting 1,000% on the option.
What did he do wrong?
Well, he should have taken up. It's 3rd and 1. You got a lane right there. You see that big hole? Shoot it up there and run it, man. Get the first down. And right there, Abdul-Haq shows why he's probably going to be a high-round draft pick. When you have the speed to run down Corey Sheets from behind, that's a football play.
Had a chance to visit with his former high school coach down in Fort Lauderdale, near where I live, and speaks very highly of the young man. 4th down and 4. Ben Jones in to attempt a field goal. This one coming from 46 yards out. Jones knocks this one just inside the left upright. That's his 37th career field goal. Puts him number 2 on the all-time list behind Travis Dorsch, who had a great career here at Purdue. We're going to stay right here with 7:14 to go in the 3rd quarter. Let's go downstairs to Rob Stone for more on Abdul-Haq.
Mark, Iowa making a name for themselves by making names out of players that were lightly recruited. Another great example of that, 2-time first-team All-Big Ten linebacker Abdul-Haq. The Fort Lauderdale native you talked about received what he termed, and I love this, guys, a quote-unquote social scholarship offer from Auburn, meaning if Auburn couldn't land the guy that they really wanted, then maybe they take Hodge. Well, come April, Hodge won't be a maybe. He'll be an absolutely in the NFL draft. ESPN draft expert Mel Kiper told me this week he is definitely going somewhere in the 2nd round as of now.
Where's he have Greenway?
Greenway he has, it's a good question, Chris, again, the only way you're going to learn. He had Greenway as the #1 outside linebacker coming into the season, but because of the weak play by the defensive line of Purdue this year, the linebacker has slipped a little bit. Right now he sits behind Ohio State's A.J. Hawk, Alabama's D'Amico Ryans, and he's now tied for 3rd with Florida State's A.J. Nicholson. That is your Iowa linebacker NFL update.
You know, I'm going to disagree with Mel.
In what sense?
I think Greenway is probably a 1st-round pick because of his size and his ability to run. And I know those other guys can run, but I really like Greenway.
Young tries to field it.
Yeah, mental error.
Now he's at the 18-yard line. And speaking of A.J. Hawk, get a chance to see him tonight on ESPN as they play Penn State. And let's go back to Rob.
Well, Chris, just to add, you know, actually you and Mel Kiper are on the same page. He definitely thinks Greenway is a 1st-round pick. It's just that his stock has slid down a little bit. So rather than going very high in the 1st round,
right.
And again, you know, hey, we're only in October.
That's right.
There's still something called the Combine just down the road in Indianapolis to happen a little bit later, too.
And Chris, you've always said that the success of linebackers is directly proportional to the guys up front and how good they are.
Absolutely. And Young made a mental error. He shouldn't have touched that ball. They'd have the ball at the 35-yard line.
And a play fake by Tate on the bootleg.
Solomon.
Drew Tate takes off. Got a nice block.
Knocked
Before he
himself
stepped out of bounds. Solomon paid the price. Shows you the type of toughness he already. Oh, he's a little groggy.
He's out. Standing 8 count right there. And I give him credit.
He sold out for the block. He gave it up for the team that time.
Well, he's the #1 option. You see him coming in your picture. Watch him come and meet George Hall. Bam! George Hall's 250 pounds. Now, see, he wants the football, but no, he's going to turn into a blocker, and he's going to sell out for his teammates. And that's 250 pounds he's hitting. It's coming full speed. He's a tough kid.
I talked about Kirk Ferentz noting how great he's been blocking this year downfield. 2nd down and 1. Young got the 1st down for the Hawkeyes at the 32-yard line. And Solomon shaken up with a knee injury in the 2nd quarter, coming back in now after absorbing that blow. Actually, he gave it out a little bit to George Hall as well. Clinton Solomon started off with the first big play of the game, an 80-plus yard touchdown reception from Drew Tate. That was his first catch of the game, and then he went about 80 yards for the score. Came here actually as a quarterback. Did some time at the pivot position, but found his true talents to be at the wide receiver spot. And he is the object of this pass and catch at midfield. Solomon took a hit after making the catch. It was deflected by Ray Williams. An 18-yard pickup. And Clinton Solomon, you can't say enough about his toughness today.
No, and his knee right there, because he got bent over backwards a little bit. But it's clear to me that Ken O'Keefe and Kirk Ferentz are trying to find Ray Williams and get that matchup between Solomon and Williams. We saw it earlier in the game when they tried to throw the fade to the corner of the end zone. And Ray's hanging in there. Ray's doing a nice job for his first game of corner. He's playing well.
Got to start today because of the injury to Brian Hickman. Drew Tate on a play fake. They're going to rule it complete right on the sidelines, and they say it's a complete pass at the 28 to Malloy. It was tippy-toeing down the sideline, Chris.
Drew Tate does a nice job of throwing over Ray Williams, and Malloy gets 1 foot in. Here comes Pollard. Boom. Now Pollard will whack you. I mean, he is a tough customer.
That's why they call him Bone Crusher.
Yeah.
He has been silenced by head coach Joe Tiller this week. He's not allowed to speak to the media. But of course his hits do all the time.
Yes, sir.
Out of the I formation, Young. Boy, Albert Young has been quiet but very efficient today running the football down at the 23-yard line. Young, approaching 80 yards now in total on the day, has run the ball 19 times. Guy who was lost for the season last year in the 2nd game because of an ACL injury. The year before that, he suffered a leg injury that had him miss most of the season.
He gets those tough yards. You know, he doesn't go down early with contact. He's low to the ground. He grinds yards out.
Solomon split to the bottom of your screen on 2nd down and 5. Drew Tate, once the most productive high school passer in all of Texas high school football. Hands it off. And Young powering his way inside the 20 to the 19. Looks like, depending on the spot, he's about a yard short of the 1st down.
A late flag, too. Somebody got a little bit overzealous. Averill. His teammates are grabbing him, telling him to settle down.
This Purdue Boilermaker defense had 11 starters returning this year, but so far have not lived up to their own expectations.
After the play was over, personal foul on a defense. Number 85, he shot to the head. Half the distance to the goal from where the run ended, automatic. 1st down.
He's getting driven right here, right there. See, he's doing a good job, and he throws a cheap shot. You just got your rear end handed to you. Mike Elgin drives him off the football. You don't get frustrated. You throw a cheap shot like that, you might be out of the football game. Make a poor decision. You're already down in numbers on your defensive side of the ball. Hold your composure. Don't get driven off the ball, then you won't have to throw a punch.
1st down and goal as a result. Albert Young. Young is brought down right near the line of scrimmage by George Hall. George Hall from Groton, Connecticut, filling in for Nico Kudovides, who was the last great linebacker in the middle for Purdue, also from Connecticut.
Mark, interesting where the ball is now. The ball was just inside the 10. And don't forget, the back line of the end zone becomes your 12th man on defense. You can't get a first down. So if there's any consolation to Purdue's defense, they have a very short field to work with and puts Iowa in a little bit of bind.
4 receivers on this formation. The pass is incomplete. Grigsby had it and started to run with it before he actually squeezed it. It'll be 3rd down and goal now.
Yeah, and they're going to Grigsby, and Grigsby is not a confident guy right now. Grigsby is not going out and snatching the football. He's not going out and catching it with his back of his hands up to his eyes. He's trying to catch it underhand, and when you try to catch it underhand, it's going to deflect off of your chest.
You know what, Chris, I like what Drew Tate did there, showing great leadership and belief in his players. He seemed to grab his player by the helmet, Grigsby, and say, hey, it's okay, I got you.
Prior to the snap, illegal substitution on the offense. They broke the pedal for 12 minutes. 9-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still 3rd down.
Right.
That's their first penalty of the day.
Get the duct tape out, because he might explode, because that's something on somebody who's ever responsible for substitution. And that'll drive him nuts. I mean, he's a perfectionist, and that should not happen this late into the season. Yeah, he's getting on the hotline.
Somebody's catching it.
That's kind of like when the ESPN upper-ups call our hotline.
3rd down and goal. Solomon is split to the top of the screen for Tate. And another flag thrown.
Penalty markers stop play.
Prior to the snap, ball start. Offense, 46. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
So you can cook an egg on his forehead right now. That's how hot he is.
Oh, I love him. He's a great guy and a great football coach, as is Joe Tiller. But I love the passion that these guys bring.
And Fry's offensive line coach for 9 seasons. Kirk Ferentz was.
Back at the 19-yard line.
Says his team's still searching for an identity. They had a good week of practice, and so far it's shown. 3rd and goal.
Right there,
play of the drive.
Right there's the moneymaker.
Backside pressure. Tate buys time. To the 4-yard line, Grigsby, the same guy that dropped the pass moments ago, and Tate grabbed him and said, hey, I got your back, and he does it again.
It's a great job. Again, a blown opportunity by Purdue and their defense.
14-yard pickup sets up 4th and goal, and in comes Kyle Schlicker, the place kicker.
Brent Grover had him in the sights, but Drew Tate has that nice little spin move.
Yeah.
And going back right to Grigsby, who's dropped 2 and caught 2.
This is going to come from about 22 yards out. He's had makes from 32 and 33, and you can add this one to the mix from 21 yards out. And let's go back to the studio with Reese.
All right, Mark, every week we honor the singular All-America Player of the Week, and you can have your voice heard on that as well. All you have to do is text VOTE to 87654 on your singular wireless phone to get involved in the voting process for the singular All-America Player of the Week, and you could win a trip to the national championship game in January.
All right, Reese, and back here, 3:37 to go. It's now a 23-17 ball game in the 3rd quarter. For those of you just joining us, the leading receiver for the Hawkeyes on the season, Ed Hinkle. There he is, was shaken up in the first half, suffered a broken arm, and is done for the rest of this game. Here's a look at the injury after making the catch on the run. Brought down by Ray Williams, seemingly a harmless tackle until he comes off the field and they slapped a splint on it immediately. Rob Stone reported in the first half that he was told it was a broken arm. That in addition to the fact that Clinton Solomon was injured. And under that jacket, I'm told now that Hinkle does have a cast on.
Big loss that would be for Iowa's offense as they progress down into the Big Ten season. Very, very reliable receiver. Runs good routes, good possession guy.
There's Dorian Bryant at the 2. Bryant brought down just at the 20-yard line. I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman, Rob Stone down in the field, and this is the 78th edition of Iowa against Purdue. We're at Ross-Ade Stadium in West Lafayette, Indiana. The Hawkeyes lead by 6. Game that Iowa led at one point 17-7. They're scoring 17 consecutive points. It was 17-14 at halftime. First down and 10 out of the shotgun for Brandon Kearse. Pass is complete. And first down. Good catch by Kevin Noel. And let's go downstairs to Rob for more on the grass.
Yeah, the field's starting to get ripped up again. They did some cosmetic work at halftime, just trying to replace the divots and stepping on them. You know, obviously it doesn't do a whole lot, but I spoke with Al Capitas, the turf manager here. He told me the divots have been a problem all season. A long, hot, dry summer, little rain, and I got a couple buzz words for you on the grass after this play.
Okay, Rob. Kearse on the play fake. Threw it into heavy traffic, and back for more on the grass from Rob.
Yeah, that's right. I should be working for Scott's with these next terms here, all right? We had high soil temperature, which led to some root pruning, which basically means the roots slough off and they naturally die. So the roots need to take a tough pill. Right, Chris Spielman?
I've got 2 words for you, Rob. Field turf.
Well, they're in the middle of this 3-game homestand, so there's really not a whole lot they can do. And this is not an isolated problem here. Several Big Ten teams, including Penn State, have already ripped up and resodded their turf this season.
They do have the new technology available. Juggled and incomplete at the 38-yard line, intended for Greg Orton.
Yeah, I'm saying, where's Ingram? And I'm seeing him walking in. That's the second drop for Orton. Nice route. Got to catch that. Again, Mark, guys are not going out and snatching the football. They're letting it beat them up. Do not let it come to your chest. That's like a backboard.
Well, you talk about Ingram, Chris. There he is, split to the top of your screen. On 3rd and 10. Kearse looked at his receiver the entire time, and they rule it incomplete at the 45-yard line. Intended for Noel again. Adam Shada there in defense on the play.
Yeah, Adam Shada's taking the place of injured Antoine Allen and answered the challenge right there. He's working on Dorian Bryant right there. Does a good job of reading his routes, and Kevin Noel, and breaking when the ball breaks. Outstanding job for Adam Shada coming in and stepping up.
Bryson to punt, his 5th of the afternoon, standing at his own 17-yard line. Back deep, it's Jovan Johnson out of Erie, Pennsylvania. Gonna let it bounce at about the 32, goes out of bounds near the 30. For this Georgia-Tennessee update, let's go back to the studio in Reese.
All right, Mark, Georgia's Gordon Ely-Kelso had backed Tennessee up on his doorstep. Tennessee had to punt to try to get out of trouble, and that just got him in more trouble. Thomas Flowers logs on, part of the Gone Network. Return for the touchdown. Dogs, 20-7 late.
All right, Reese, 23-17, just under 3 minutes to go. I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman. And Chris, it's interesting that Drew Tate had a talking to from his head coach, Kirk Ferentz, about his behavior. I'll tell you about that a little bit more after this snap. Pass incomplete, and there was a play a couple of games ago in a loss against Ohio State. Tate's frustrations boiling over after a sack. He spiked the ball, and Ferentz told him after the game, hey, that is a selfish act that you did. We got to pull back on that type of emotion. It seems to have served him well.
It has, and I think Kirk's job and Coach O'Keefe's job is to harness that energy, and it seems to me the leadership that Drew Tate has shown today with Grigsby dropping a few balls and Drew going up and patting him on the back, that shows that he's grown from 2 weeks ago versus Ohio State.
2nd down and 10 here. Albert Young finding a seam over the right side of the offensive line. Young falling forward, getting the first down just beyond the 40-yard line. Got a nice block on the edge from Scott Chandler.
And Scott Chandler did a great job, and what's happening is they're locking up.
We talked about that incident, Drew Tate against Ohio State. Here's what he did after being sacked. Spiked the ball and was flagged for a delay of game penalty. Might have been one of the, or maybe the low point of the season for him in that really a disappointing loss. They didn't score a single touchdown in the game.
They didn't score one against Iowa State either. And this team, it seems like it's coming together, Mark. There's telltale times during the season where you got to come together. And this is for both teams. This game is it.
1st and 10. He's going up top for Solomon. He caught it, but he caught it out of bounds. Incomplete. Ray Williams defending on the play.
Nice job of the official, letting him hand fight a little bit. Solomon does a good job and a good route, but again, Ray Williams, it's evident and clear that they're trying to attack Ray Williams, who's playing his first game at corner, coming over from the offensive side from wide receiver because of the lack of depth at corner that Purdue has. And Ray Williams, so far to me, Mark, has stepped up and answered the challenge. Right here, this is the matchup. He's going to go back to him.
Tate hands it off to Young, and Young, slippery, gets the first down just beyond midfield at the 49-yard line. Tell you one thing about number 21, Albert Young there. We talked about the possibility of seeing Marcus Schnur, Sean Green, and Damian Sims. At this point, it seems like Young has seized control of that number 1 job. It might not be running back by committee for much longer.
No, I think he stepped up and claimed and said, this is mine, nobody else can have it.
22 rushes for 101 yards on the day. Two tight end formation on 1st and 10 for the Hawkeyes. Young stopped on a dime and changed directions. A nice pickup. Got about 7 on that play. George Hall and Bernard Pollard made the stop for the Boilermakers.
Yeah, Bernard Pollard's coming up and making a lot of plays, but he's making it from a too deep position. They're trying to play Iowa with 7 men in the box. And it's clear to me that Iowa's saying, fine, you're going to do that, we'll pound the football. Mark, especially when there are 2 backs in the backfield. That means there's an extra gap created, an 8th gap created, and you don't have it. Here's the box. Right here, see, this is the box. Here's the safety. He's playing a little bit too far.
This time first they hand it off to Damian Sims. Bounces it outside, and once again Pollard in on the tackle along with Williams. About a yard short of the first down, and Bernard Pollard earlier this year, actually back in summer practice, he was dismissed from the team for a couple of days because of some verbal outbursts, and head coach Joe Tiller didn't like it. Meanwhile, that is George Hall down on the play.
Again, though, Ray Williams and Pollard, that's your corner and safety making a tackle. That's a second level of defense, making a tackle down the field. And that's because they're short, and I was doing a good job of staying on their blocks. Purdue right now is not getting off and defeating their blocks one-on-one. Each guy is giving 1 for 1. You can't be a defensive football player if you give 1 for 1.
As Hall comes off the field under his own powers. The one thing that I've always admired, Chris, about the Hawkeyes' offensive play, especially on the offensive line, is how they always seem to be in sync. Ken O'Keefe does a great job. You see him right there with his quarterback. When they come off during their zone blocking schemes, it's almost like watching the Rockettes. You know, they're in such synchronicity that it's pretty to watch at times.
They need to do a little tap number right now to get the first down.
3rd down and 1. And off at a first down and then some. Albert Young did it again. Down to the 34-yard line. Dan Bick in for Hall made the stop on the play. Under 30 seconds to go, 27 to go in the 3rd quarter. Iowa leading by 6, picking up another first down.
You might have some run blitzes that you want to start incorporating, because right now they're beating you up front. Changing the line of scrimmage. That line of scrimmage is going back to here. From here.
Tate hits the edge and threw it behind his intended receiver, Tom Bush. And that is the last play of the 3rd quarter. We have 45 minutes in the books for a couple of very desperate teams playing with a lot of immediacy and urgency. Dorian Bryant with a lunging touchdown a few moments ago. We'll be back with the 4th period right after this. 23-17 here at the start of the 4th quarter at Ross-Ade Stadium. That is Drew Tate, quarterback who struggled on the road in the 2 previous road appearances, but not today. Albert Young spins off a tackler, takes it down to the 30-yard line. They're going to spot it at the 29, 6 yards short of the first down. Averill making the stop on the play for the Boilermaker defense.
big understatement. Huge down for the Purdue defense. Not only do they want to prevent them from getting the first down, but possible decision about a field goal.
Tate, quarterback, son of a coach, played for his father, Dick Owen. Brock Spack on the other side of the ball, the defensive coordinator for the Boilermakers. His defense has been beleaguered for the last couple of weeks. They come with a blitz. Incomplete. Intended for Malloy. It'll be 4th down coming up. Time now for our Napa Auto Parts game track. Tate 16 of 28, almost 300 yards passing so far. Now Schlicker, the kicker. Good on 3 attempts today. And Brandon Kirsch over 250 yards passing. That touchdown pass to Dorian Bryant. They really picked up the tempo with him offensively, and it has benefited him so far.
Schlicker, the kicker, has been perfect today. This is a big one, 2-possession game. He knocks this one through.
From 47 yards out. He missed it. And the lead remains at a tenuous 6 points for Kirk Ferentz and the Iowa Hawkeyes. We'll be back right after this. .14:08 to go in the 4th quarter. Iowa leading by 6. Purdue with the ball 1st and 10 from its own 30-yard line. Here's with time out of the shotgun. Bryant on the move. Dorian Bryant with a 1st down into Iowa territory at the 45. The tackle made by Adam Shada.
And again, they're working in the comfort zone of Brandon Kirsch, the 4 wide receiver, 2-minute offense. And where they got this comfort zone was not at the beginning of the year, Mark, but it was in the second half of the Notre Dame game where they threw for over 300 yards and put 28 points up.
Picked up 25 on that one. Ingram juggled it, but squeezed it finally. Down to the 37-yard line. Picked up about 8 in that play. Jovan Johnson, just 5'9", working against the 6'9". Kyle Ingram.
Well, the other thing, it starts neutralizing the pass rush. When you're going hurry-up offense, the big fellas get tired.
Here's had it batted down at the line of scrimmage that time by Matt Poole. Second, actually 3rd down now and short to go for the Boilermakers.
Yeah, Alex Canellis also does a great job of recognizing 3-step drop as a defensive end. You see 3-step drop, automatically you get your hands up. You're not going to get the sack. You either want to bat the ball down or disrupt the vision of the receiver by getting your hands in the throwing lane.
Looking at a 3rd down and 1. Charles Davis, tight end, comes into the ball game, lines up on the left side of the formation.
Yeah, he's been quiet today. He was a big part of their receiving offense.
Checking his wristband for the play. Got it. And it's to Davis, and he got dislodged at the 25-yard line. Good hit by Godfrey. And it's 4th down and 1.
Yeah, that's a good job by Godfrey with breaking down the football. You see Greenway working him inside. Maybe let him go a little bit too early. But he times the hit right when the ball arrives in Davis's hands. And as you said, Mark, dislodged it.
4th down and short. Got to get to the 35-yard line for the 1st down. Davis still in the ball game. He's on the left of the formation. On the option, Kirsch keeps it, has the 1st down. He took a hit and fell forward inside the 30 to the 29. Godfrey brought the wood that time.
A repeat of plays. Jim Chaney knows what he's doing, Mark. He had this play called just in case they wouldn't get the 1st down on the pass. They had success running on the other side of the field back in the 3rd quarter. They come back to it. They get 3 lead blockers. You only need a yard. All he has to do is follow the black shirts.
That is the new offense that Jim Chaney has this year. In part, a bit of an option package for Purdue. They scaled it back, but apparently have kept just enough of a Kirsch complete to Ingram. 1st down at the 13-yard line. And here come Purdue.
And his throws are the cat's meow. I think that's a good thing. I heard an older person say that. It is the cat's meow because he's on target and throwing strikes with velocity.
Brandon Kirsch now, Chris, has notched a career high for passing yardage. And I think he'd rather take the win. 300 yards in all, and the meter's still running. 26 of 41. Go back to the second half of last week's game against the Fighting Irish, and Brandon Kirsch has had a hot hand.
Gotta look at that play clock.
calls a timeout with 3 seconds to go on it. We're going to take one with them. Back with more right after this. Welcome back, everyone. Ross-Ade Stadium, 12:34 to go in the fourth quarter. Iowa leading by 6, but Purdue threatening. First down and 10 from the Iowa 13-yard line. Corey Sheets is the lone back. See if they run coming out of this timeout situation. It's a little option to Sheets. And Sheets dragged down from behind at the 11-yard line by Fulton. Let's go back to the studio in Reese.
All right, Mark, battle of unbeatens. Texas Tech, Nebraska, right down to the end. 31-27. Huskers lead. Fourth down play for the Red Raiders. Cody Hodges buying time and finding Joel Fulani for the third time today. And Texas Tech, 34-31, 5 ticks left.
Second down 8.
Right, Reese back here, second down and 8. Kirsch on the fake. It was caught by somebody, and they're going to rule it's a pick by Miles, Edmund Miles.
Touchback. Ball will be brought out to the 20.
Chad Greenway tipped it up, and Brandon Kirsch with a look of amazement on his face.
Well, here's why Chad Greenway is one of the best linebackers in the country, because he has the ability of not looking back at the football too early and is able to get his hand up with Charles Davis' hand. See that? His hand splits Charles Davis' hand, and his size helped him. Being 6'4", he's able to do that, and Miles comes down with a pick because he's chasing the football. Again, do not underestimate size, and we're able to go up with 6'6" Charles Davis. It's a great play by Chad Greenway. Great play.
That play vaguely familiar to the one on Thursday night in the game between North Carolina State and Georgia Tech, when Georgia Tech was going in for the touchdown.
Officials timeout. The previous play will be reviewed.
I think the officials are going to find that he did have his feet in bounds when he made the catch. Remember, there must be indisputable video evidence. And there's a look at our replay officials up top, our technical advisor. One more look at it. Greenway tipped it.
It's tough to see it from that angle. We'll see. There's a great job by Greenway. There's a bobble. He's in.
Yep.
He's in.
Got that left foot down when he squeezed it.
Yep. Left foot's in.
This is the best angle of the 3.
And ball, foot.
Yeah, he had the ball there. Edmund Miles, the 6'1" junior.
This should be short phone call right here. Brock Speck's defense has played well. They played with a lot of courage today. New guys, down in numbers, injury bug. They've been able to step up and answer the challenge.
After the review of the play, previous play, the play stands as called on the field. Result of the play is a touchback on the 20-yard line.
One final look at this. Davis had it knocked away, and then Miles got the foot down right there. The left foot was in.
You know, I never understand why. I can understand if a play was being booed without replay, but I can't understand why it's being played with replay. I mean, it's the truth.
Pretty conclusive.
Yeah, face it. It's the truth.
Can't change the video.
Film doesn't lie. Eye in the sky.
It's Iowa's 4th interception of the season. Albert Young pounding it on the left side of that offensive line. Keeps the wheels churning. Makes it all the way out to the 28-yard line. Got about 8. Ray Edwards finally made the stop. Brandon Kirsch smoldering on the sidelines for the Boilermakers.
Yeah, he's hot. Look at Rob. There's Rob Stone trying to get the scoop. I was offensive line, Mark. You could tell that Kirk Ferentz is an offensive line coach. They really maintain their blocks. Miles, he's showing that big smile. That's a big play. Chad Greenway, though, excellent play.
Second down and 1. Enough to Young with a nice burst, has the first down out to the 34-yard line before George Hall finally brought him down. Picked up 5 on that one. Chad Greenway out of South Dakota played 8-man football. They still play 8-man football in places on the planet? 8-man football. How do you play 8-man football?
Don't know.
get some video of that at some point. Maybe our next production meeting we can have Bart Fox, our producer, bring some over. Tom Bush in at fullback.
I don't know if Bush is a big threat now. He's backing up into the run position.
Play clock winding down. They give it to him. He got rocked. Back at the 31, fell forward to the 33. Anthony Spencer made the play from his defensive end spot.
Now Bush is a great blocker, and I don't know if Coach Ferentz lost a bet to him, but he put him back at tailback and let him run. We haven't seen Schnorr. There's Albert Young, but Schnorr's usually the backup tailback. I don't know if that was deception or what.
Maybe they had a flashback to the days of Razor Ochoa at fullback. Second down and 11. Back lineup out of the offset eye. Young back in the ballgame. Drew Tate delivers the strike at the 40-yard line, complete to Scott Chandler, whose older brother Nathan was a former quarterback. As Drew Tate learned under him, they picked up 7 that time. Under 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And Pollard has been in on too many stops today.
Yeah, he is, and he's making them too far down the field now. A lot of times, it's not bad if your strong safety makes a lot of tackles if he's the 8th man in the box or extra linebacker. And that's, if I'm Purdue, that's what I'm going to do right now, because I was going to come out and try to thump it.
Iowa 33% on third down today, 4 of 12. 3rd and 3. Tate has room to do it himself, which he does.
Smart decision.
First down at the 50-yard line, Drew Tate. And don't forget, folks, coming up at 7:45 Eastern Time, number 6, Ohio State venturing into Happy Valley to take on number 16, Penn State. As we glance at the standings in the Big Ten, Iowa and Purdue at 1-1 and 0-1 respectively. Penn State undefeated at 2-0. Ohio State at 1-0. Ohio State owns a win against these Hawkeyes this year. Purdue doesn't have Ohio State on the schedule. That was supposed to be the beneficial thing. Hasn't worked out that way. Young got 2 over the right side. Knocked down by Alex McGee. Clock running with 8:40 to go.
Here's the chess match, Mark. I'm going to show you. Right here. You see, right here is the safety. This is what we've been talking about. He becomes the 8th man in the box, but Drew Tate is calling the play. He's going to run the play away from the safety. See, that safety's on block. They got a hat on the other side. That's the chess game that's going on. And you got to win individual battles now because you do have a unblocked player. That's a good job of Brock Spack adjusting.
Second down and 8. Young. Tate got him into another good play, Chris, as you just designed, down to the 41-yard line. Pollard once again in on the stop for Purdue.
Again, away from the safety. That time Brandon Whittington came up and they run away from the safety. Now what you have to do on the defensive side, everybody's got to put their arm away from the safety and make the ball cut back to the unblocked player, and that's what they're not doing.
3rd down and 1. Solomon split to the top of your screen.
So you got your 2 safeties playing up tight.
They run it. And Young has the first down. Approaching 7.5 minutes to go. Bernard Pollard in on another tackle for the Boilermakers.
We got grinding them.
Ross-Ade Stadium, West Lafayette, Indiana, area code 765. I'm Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman and Rob Stone down in the field. 7:29 to go. In a pivotal game, albeit early in the Big Ten Conference schedule for both Iowa and Purdue. And Albert Young has a career-high rushing 145 yards.
Now here he comes.
I'm going to add to that total, Chris. Got about 2 that time, stopped by George Hall. Let's go to Reese.
All right, Mark, coming up as soon as you guys are done, Jim Tressel and Joe Paterno lead their squads in State College, Ohio State, and Penn State. Nittany Lions trying to remain unbeaten against the Bucks. That's coming up next. College football primetime.
All right, Reese and Joe Pa with a couple of talented, speedy freshmen leading the way for the Nittany Lions.
If you want to be optimistic and be a Penn State fan, Ohio State is 1-3 coming off bye weeks. Under Jim Tressel.
Second down and 8. And the jailbreak screen. Solomon has room. Turbo time. to Solomon. Another lethal connection. A 36-yard touchdown catch. And that silences the sellout crowd here at Ross-Ade.
Right here, Drew Tate again, everything set up off the play action. And you were able to get out there. Ben Gates throws a nice block. And Solomon shows no remnants of a knee injury. He says, I have an opportunity to score. I'm going to score.
That's his second touchdown, Chris, of the day on a pass. Missed it from Tate. And they missed the extra point. Margin remains at 12 points. Solomon cranking it out. Iowa leading 29-17 after that touchdown pass and catch from Tate to Solomon with 6:26 to go in the fourth quarter. Iowa looking for their second Big Ten win of the season against just one loss. Solomon, meanwhile, with a career-high 166 yards receiving to go along with a couple of touchdowns. Bryant at the 2. Bryant tripped up at the 17-yard line. A nice open field tackle by Sherlock.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by GMC Trucks and SUVs. We are professional grade. And Taco Bell. Think outside the box.
Well, coming into this ball game, Iowa faced many questions about how proficient they could be on the road. They hadn't scored a touchdown on the road in 2 games this year. That all changed today in a big way. 1st and 10 coming back the other way with the Boilermakers. A 4-receiver formation. Kirsch looking downfield. There's a flag down. And it's incomplete. There's going to be a hold against the Boilermakers that time. The hold is against Purdue. Take a look at some of the key plays of the game so far. The latest one, the attempted pass to Davis. Miles came up with the interception. They reviewed the video and the play stood. And then King Solomon with his second touchdown.
That shows you team 2 responding under pressure, Mark. Not only they come up with a big play, stop Purdue from scoring in the red zone, but then they turn and make the turnover into.
Kirsch missed the snap. And Sheets throws it out of bounds. That's going to be a safety. Kirsch wasn't ready, Chris, for the snap out of the shotgun. And things going big time awry for Purdue. Matt Turner and Brandon Kirsch miscommunicating on the snap. I mean, he wasn't even looking. Turner didn't even hit him with the snap.
Matt Turner was on his own program because nobody else came out of their stance. So Brandon Kirsch is waiting, and all of a sudden there goes the ball, and there's nothing he can do about that. I'll tell you, Corey Sheets does all he can do, throw it out of there so they don't get a touchdown on the fumble recovery. But that's where Purdue's out of sync. And when we're talking about what's wrong with Purdue this year, it's those costly mistakes that have probably cost them 3 ball games.
Back-to-back erroneous plays by Matt Turner, the center. First the hold and then the errant snap. And Joe Tiller in disbelief on the sidelines. His team now down by 14 points. And not only that, they have to kick this away to Iowa after the safety.
And on a safety, you kick from the 20-yard line, and you have the option to punt or kick. The ball hits the ground now. It's a free football. It's a free kick.
Well, if you thought the chorus of boos showered down on the Purdue sidelines after the Notre Dame game, this one can't be much prettier. A coach and a program under siege, very much beleaguered for the past couple of weeks. Talking about the expectations coming into the season, and Joe Tiller himself admitting that maybe as a coaching staff as a whole, they didn't do as great a job as they should have managing the expectations. This kick fielded at the 40-yard line by Albert Young. He said talked about having to do it again. If he could do it again, Tiller said that they might keep closer reins on the psyche of the team and keep those expectations in check as some of the fans begin to head for the exits. But these fans need to remember what this program was before Joe Tiller arrived. They had 12 consecutive losing seasons. That's what happens. Sometimes, Chris, you become a victim of your own success.
And it's frustrating to see the fans arrive. They're only 2 possessions down.
6:09 to go. Albert Young having a career day. Another first down, picked up about 14. Whittington made the stop on the play as we approach 6 minutes to go. Iowa looking to improve to 4-2 overall and 2-1 in the Big Ten Conference. Remember, last year they started off 2-0. After that, a couple of key changes offensively and defensively, tweaks by Kirk Ferentz, and then an 8-game winning streak to close out the season. That is why constantly Kirk Ferentz's name pops up in NFL head coaching vacancies. He's one of the more popular coaches on the college football landscape. Young again down to the 46, and let's go downstairs to Rob Stone.
Mark, with 11 starters returning on defense, a lofty preseason ranking, and an accommodating Big Ten schedule. Well, you know, Boilermaker faithful had January dreams of Pasadena and Miami dancing through their heads, and Coach Tiller admitted to us yesterday that he even got a little caught up in all that silly hype. He told us he did a poor job managing the expectation level and that he should have been smart enough to quiet all down. Why? Well, he knows every team is different. You have no idea how good your team really is until you play someone. But Mark, he did add an interesting note. You know, this whole hype talk, you know, it's the head coach's job here at Purdue to drive fans to that ticket window as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rob. Very, very good point. Chandler on the reception, stays in bounds, and has finally run out of bounds at the 21-yard line. And another first down for the Hawkeyes. Yeah, Tiller said that, you know, there's a big difference between coaching a place like Purdue and a place like Notre Dame. He said that the coach at Purdue has to sell tickets as well, and that's why sometimes they may try and get the fans a little bit more excited than a place like at Notre Dame. And Charlie Weiss might have to do it at Notre Dame.
You know, this is a huge challenge for Joe Tiller to bring his team out of this funk. The other thing, Mark, is that they still had high standards, but you just don't want to go out and preach about it all the time because you could fall apart like they seem to be doing right now.
Young down inside the 20-yard line. Let's go to Reese Davis in the studio. More great college football coming up. Reese. 4:35 to go. Clock running. Drew Tate has done an exceptional job managing this offense. This may be a turning point for him individually and from a team standpoint. The way he's managed the clock today, the way he's managed the offense as a career-high passing of 357 yards. A great coming out party in a day when he turns 21.
And they no longer have to look in the lost and found for their identity. I believe they found it here tonight.
Albert Young helped out, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Fell down at the 18-yard line. Averill making the stop on the play.
It's another thing on Drew Tate, Mark. I mean, we saw the outburst that he had against Ohio State and his ability to come back and especially with a young wide receiver in Grigsby when he dropped a few balls. Drew to get in his face. Drew went and patted him on the back. Thus, Grigsby comes back and makes a nice catch for him to put them in field goal position. That's the leadership that Kirk wants from his young quarterback.
A great point. They actually had to reprogram Drew Tate when he first got to Iowa because he had gone exclusively out of the shotgun in high school. A very successful program at Lee High School. Played for his father. Originally committed to Texas A&M. R.C. Slocum was fired. Took a visit to Iowa. Ironically, on the same day as Chris Leak, who also visited the campus in Iowa City. Leak finally deciding to go to Florida. Tate choosing this place, Iowa. Back on October 25th, 1991. Hayden Fry against Jim Coletto. Mike Saunders led the Hawkeyes to a 31-21 win. It's the last time that Iowa won here at Ross-Ade Stadium. Saunders with several big runs. I think I remember Eric Hunter being the quarterback that year for Boilermakers. 3rd down and 7. Not sure why I remember that, but A little bit of useless trivia for you, Chris. Never heard. Young once again down near the 15-yard line, and in comes the field goal unit on 4th down and 6.
Good decision by Kirk Ferentz to run the ball and set his field goal kicker up. They ran that for field position to put it in the middle of the field. Very basic play. I'm sure Young was told to protect the football, get down when you get hit, so you can make it a 3-possession ball game. 3 for 4 today, Schlicker.
You can almost hear them right now on South Dubuque Street and on the Penn Mall in Iowa City. Down at the Fieldhouse Restaurant. They watch the games in earnest. The Zealots there. A great time. Just heard a few more decibels get turned up. Down at Brothers and Martinis. Vata leading the way amongst the big cheerleaders down in the Penn Mall.
What do you do, winter in Iowa?
Great place for college football. Been there a few Saturdays, you know.
Yep.
Don't forget, coming up next, folks, number 6, Ohio State taking on number 16, Penn State. From Happy Valley, Bob Davie, Ron Franklin, and Holly Rowe on the call for that one. And Chris Lee and Kirk, actually, Chris and Kirk there. I saw Coach Corso actually picked. He put the buck on. Who did he put on the? He put the Buckeye head on, right?
Well, yeah, or Brutus. I mean,
okay, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I offend somebody?
No, it's going to be a great game. It's really a chance for Penn State. I mean, people say Penn State's back. Well, they're going to get a chance to prove that they're back. A lot of people say they might be pretenders or contenders. Well, they'll find out if they're contenders and they can knock off Ohio State at home.
Dorian Bryant back to get this kick for the Boilermakers. Things started off well for Purdue, and you can see the disappointment. And the Purdue Boilermaker faces. On the first possession of the ball game, they marched it down the field, made it look pretty easy, scoring a touchdown. Talk about some of the great linebackers, Greenway here and Abdul Hodge, and get to see A.J. Hawk in the next game. And what about the fact that they've undergone a bit of an evolution offensively at Ohio State? How do you think that factors into today's game against Penn State?
Well, leading up to the Iowa game, they have not had an offensive performance, speaking of Ohio State. Then what happened was that Troy Smith started getting reps in practice. When he was getting reps in practice, that's when the offense started to generate. He had his warm-up game against San Diego State, struggled, come against Iowa, played very well against Iowa. A very confident football team going into Happy Valley. But again, they are 1-3, Mark, after bye weeks under Jim Tressel.
Wow.
And they're 2-4, I believe, at Penn State. So it's a difficult place to play for them, and they got to answer that challenge.
Got 2 words for you. Ted did. Ingram makes the catch at the 33-yard line with 2:44 to go. He got the first down with the reception. Mark Jones along with Chris Spielman and Rob Stone down on the field, and Godfrey. Rob Stone reporting from the sidelines. Charles Godfrey, the starting safety, with a foot injury. Ingram tiptoes near the first down marker, pushed out of bounds by Javon Johnson. With 2:34 to go. Boy, what does Purdue do from here? This will be their second loss in conference play, effectively eliminating them from the conference title, you would think, unless some kind of strange shakedown happens in conference play.
Well, what they have to do, Mark, is they got to rally around each other, because they're going to take some heat. I mean, that's, if you're big-time college football, you're going to take some heat within the media and from the fans. They've got to come together and become one and understand that this is an opportunity for them to show what kind of character they have. Football is a great character builder. Well, now's your time to put your money where your mouth is.
First down and 10 after Ingram picked up the first down at the 46-yard line. Purdue looking at falling to 2-3 on the season and 0-2 in conference play. Got a timeout down to the field, and the last 3 games, that defense of Brock's backs and Purdue has been, well, porous. They've given up a total of 1,733 yards.
Yeah, in all fairness to Brock's back, he's playing with some injured players. See, Iowa's got a big game here at Michigan. This team right here is dangerous. Wisconsin's dangerous. And, of course, Indiana playing well under Terry Hepner. 4-1.
Got to win today against Illinois. And, boy, I can't say enough about Randy Walker's Northwestern squad today. Outgunning 51-48. Wisconsin losing their first conference game. And Minnesota with a key win today on the road in Michigan, and that sets up a great game next week, the Paul Bunyan Axe game between Minnesota and Wisconsin. That one is always a very competitive contest. We'll be there to call it for you next week at 12 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN.
I know that Glenn Mason had the line of the week last week. Said, hey, I heard this little brown jug. It's very important to us. He said, I'd like to see it once. Well, they're holding it now. I guarantee he's riding that first class seat with the jug on the way back to Minneapolis.
Jug got its own seat for the ride, huh? Second down and 10 from the 46-yard line.
Cheerleaders are losing a little of their optimism there.
Yeah, they lost their stinger, huh?
Yeah, let's go. Do your job. Everybody's got a roll.
Forget coming up next. Ohio State, Penn State. Pierce completes it to Bryant at the 29-yard line. You can say one thing about this coaching staff at Purdue. They never let go of the rope. They're not going to throw the towel in. As last week, they coached right until the end, using up their timeouts. And Brock Spack told us, hey, we coached our guys right to the final whistle.
And I like that. And Joe Tiller, I mean, he's got young guys, and he doesn't want to throw the mentality down that they're throwing in the towel. They want to keep fighting to the end. If they got timeouts left, they'll use their timeouts.
That pass incomplete, intended for Bryant.
Yeah, Adam Shada has come up and played pretty well. You know, Antoine Allen went out with an injury, an ankle injury, and Adam Shada, they tried to attack Adam. Adam answered the bell. Ding, ding. Yeah. He's come on and played.
Antoine Allen was nicked up in the first half when Kyle Ingram rolled up on his leg. Second down and 10. Joe Tiller said that we will go only as far as our quarterback takes us. Reference to Brandon Kirsch at the Big Ten meetings back in August. Kirsch on the move, and Kirsch is brought down at the 35-yard line by Matt Kroll.
I don't think Kirsch is the issue.
Yeah.
It's just the the devastation of the defense has suffered. You know, you're talking about 11 starters back, and you're playing with new guys because of the injury situation. And Brock spoke honestly. They lost their edge a little bit. He's trying to get that back and implant that in the minds.
And our
birthday present.
Yeah, why not? Our player of the game, our Nexium player of the game, is Drew Tate. 3 touchdowns, a career high 357 passing yards. He told his offense what to do, giving them a real education in dictation, I guess you'd say.
Well, you know, it's a pretty good gift. Nexium player of the game. You know, you get any heartburn problems, you got that taken care of.
Third down and 14 coming up now. 540 yards of total offense for what was the last place team in offense in the Big Ten Conference coming in. They got to get well, Bill.
Yeah, they found their identity. And I was a little surprised when we spoke with Coach Ferentz that they're searching for their identity. They found it. Young was a big part of Drew Tate's success today.
This Corey Sheets down to the 30-yard line. Brought down by Chad Greenway with 1:40 to go in the ball game. It's 4th down and long. Kurt Ferentz is signed through 2011.
Some security.
Yeah. Backside pressure on Kirsch. Threw a nice pass, but it was dropped at the 17-yard line by Chatham's, and Iowa will take over on downs with 1:20 to go. The frustration etched across the countenance of quarterback Brandon Kirsch. And another steady, workmanlike performance by the Iowa Hawkeyes. They had high expectations coming into the season as well, in the top 15 actually preseason. Stumbled early against their state rivals Iowa State, and then later against Ohio State. But showing true resilience here on the road, getting a 17-point victory seemingly so far against Purdue with 1:20 to go.
I think another thing you can take note of is that offensive line came together tonight. Really did. Both run blocking and pass blocking. There's Coach Parker. Happy.
And Parker's defense really made a nice adjustment or two after that first series when Purdue made it look easy in scoring, Chris. What do you think they did?
Well, I think Purdue helped them out a little bit because Purdue stopped becoming a threat on the run. You remember that first scoring drive. The first thing came out of my mouth was that was a balanced drive, meaning, and they were doing it through the air and on the ground.
Drew Tate out of Baytown, Texas, son of the coach, played for his father, Dick Olin, in high school. The backup quarterback in the ball game, Jason Manson, takes a knee. This one is cooked, glazed, and ready to be sliced. Abdul Hodge embracing his head coach, Kirk Ferentz. The Iowa Hawkeyes improved to 4-2 on the season, and more importantly, 2-1 in conference play, and seem poised and ready to make another run, at least of getting a share of the Big Ten Conference title. And on the other side of the field, Joe Tiller's team still looking to get some answers to the questions. They need some healthy bodies, first of all, on defense. Chris, your thoughts?
Well, I think that Joe Tiller's got a huge coaching challenge, and speaking with him yesterday, you never stop learning. Well, he's going to learn something. He's got to galvanize these guys to go ahead and compete every single week. And with the leadership of Joe Tiller, Brock Spack, and Jim Chaney, I think Purdue will never, ever quit.
So many different heroes for Iowa. Let's go downstairs to Rob Stone.
Bill, Drew, a career day, passing yard-wise. What did you see in their defense today that made you so successful?
You know, it was just, they were great defense. Our players made plays when we had to. We had, you know, Ed went down early. We had guys step up, make plays when they needed to. It was a team effort, defense, offense, special teams, everybody.
You were looking for a team identity today. What did you find?
I think really competitive. I think everyone on this football team is very competitive. They're competitors, and they're going to do whatever it takes.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Rob. The Iowa Hawkeyes embracing some of the fans that made the long trip from Iowa City. The final score, 34-17. A key win for Iowa. For Rob Stone, Chris Spielman, our entire ESPN crew, I'm Mark Jones. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Let's go back to the studio.
To Beaver Stadium, State College, Pennsylvania.